Good morning, everybody. Big Papa Timo here,
And I'm Fear the Reaper,
and this is.
the mid-lunch crisis.
How's everybody doing today? Let's see, who do we got? We got Mary Lizzie in the house. Mary Lizzie coming in first, fast and furious.
Mary!
We got 6 people watching. Awesome. Hey, how's everybody doing? Was poppin' peepless? I'm assuming that's
Y-
people. Shoot nerds in
Yeah,
the face,
but
Galaxy? Is that what we're doing? Shoot nerds in the face. That's my favorite pastime when I'm not paying attention. All right, so we are currently on Farming Simulator 19's Mod Hub loading page. Today we had an update for La Caranela, one of Big Papa Timo's favorite maps. Basically because it is a royal pain in the ass. It has lots and lots of small fields that have lots and lots of things to harvest and everything, and a bunch of factories. Now we should be getting the update for this one. I would imagine that the update is specifically for the factory, and it was the pellet factory in particular was glitched. Um, Basically, what they were doing was the pellets were shooting out of the building after you made things, and they were disappearing. Now that was only affecting the pallet one. The All the other ones were doing fine. It says the collision of the pellet bags has been eliminated. These caused conflict and made the pellet disappear. So they have in fact figured that one out. Let me go ahead and read the changelog 1.0.3.0. Various floating objects have been removed. Good. Hopefully trees, because there were a bunch of floating trees. Fixed some translations. Good, because English was not the first language on this one. Collision of the pellet bags has been eliminated. These cause conflict and made pellet disappear. Height of the triggers of biogas and compost plants have been adjusted. They were too high. Yeah, no kidding. You couldn't have dumped half your stuff in there. Lake animation has been blocked in order to check if this was what produced the flashes on the console. There were a bunch of console glitches on this. Now, this map was obviously designed for PC, but when they ported it over to the console version, there were lots and lots of glitches. This is a great update, which is accompanied by many important changes, important lowering of slot in console and totally modified production system. Awesome. Um, I am sorry for those who have an advanced game, but to enjoy all these changes in game, not errors, new game will have to start. That sucks. We say goodbye to the
Yeah.
screen freezing produced by productions. That's cool. No more blue screens. Production of cheese, flour, and sunflower oil have been modified. Now each product will be produced on pallets. Awesome. 2 new factories have been added. Production of laminate planks and production of pellets. That's from before. Um, Now to make compost, we will compact waste derived from straw, manure, and sugarcane. Chips to compost has been removed. That's from before as well. New biomass bunker, which we will obtain by compacting chip. We will use the biomass for the production of pellets. Awesome. Now the factories are installed at different points on the map. Find the location of each one. Basically, it's a hunt. It's a hunt for all the little hoochie dookies. Now the factories. Okay, sorry, I just read that one. To use any of the factory's greenhouses, animals, and the biomass bunker, you must previously buy the land where they are located. All right, so that was how it worked before. So my update is downloaded, and honestly, I'm going to back up here to the regular screen if it would back up. Back it up. Yeah. How's it going, Galaxy? I'm glad you were shooting people. Heard you went live at midnight last night. Thought you were going live at noon today. That's because I'm old and stupid. Not enough space coffee. All right, so create game. I had La Caronella. Now you see here, I had $14 million on the map, and I got to make a new one. Oh darn. Oh darn. All right, so we're gonna
Yeah.
delete La Caronella.
Galaxy said he was falling. He couldn't stream anymore. He was slowly falling asleep. He messed up by staying up late last night. I told you should have napped, buddy.
Yeah, you got to take power naps, bud. Power naps. That's how you go. That's how you do this. All right, so back to what
I
we got
kept
going on
having
here.
I kept having to get him to go back and read things because he was missing a bunch of stuff.
Oh, so I have a bunch of maps I have my Hagenstead, I have my Crater Lake, I have my flat map, I have my Doll Ranch, I have a blank space now, and I have Ningen Farms. And then I have my No Man's Land and my online flat map. So I think what we're going to do today is we're going to go to, we're going to make a new La Caranella. So we're going to start this one. We are going to start as new farmer. And then we have to go to the new La Caranella. There's Big Papa Timo. Got a green shirt on today, guys. Green shirt. Yep. Let's start this. All right, so Big Papa Timo's got all sorts of mods. And what I actually don't normally do on these is I don't normally disable anything because this is pretty much what I use as my own password.
Hmm.
If you ever want to get on any of my maps in multiplayer, you better have a lot of mods. Most of this stuff I will never use on this map there. And honestly, I'm too lazy to disable these. So I'm just going to start this one. Now I'm starting this in single player career mode, new farmer, because it's going to give me a whole bunch of equipment and it will give me stuff there. I'm actually going to back right back out of it once I save it and restart it as multiplayer so I get to start with all the stuff. Because I'm cheap like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, how is everybody doing today? How is everybody doing? It is a beautiful day in western Pennsylvania. It's a little chilly.
Yeah. But it is sunshine and blue sky up here.
It is. It is absolutely gorgeous blue skies and sunny. It is amazingly quiet outside. Got some good news of the day. Good news of the day is my wife's employer has continued to graciously offer bonuses to their employees working during these difficult times. This time
Oh.
it was a gift card where every employee got, I believe it was an additional dollar for every hour worked. They gave them a gift card with $1 per hour on there. Now, it doesn't sound like much. My wife put in, I think, 32 and a half hours last week. So she got a gift card with 32.50 on it. And the gift card, ironically enough, is for the supermarket she works at. Now, a lot of people would sit there and go, well, that's kind of crappy. You know, they've got to go spend the money at the place that they work. It's a supermarket.
Yeah.
We were going to spend the money there anyways. And then some people may go, you know, well, what if they don't shop there? They will now.
I was going to
It's
say, yeah.
it's free money. It's free food. When people complain about something like that, you know, come on. I pointed out to my wife that it was kind of goofy that her boss gave her a gift card to the place she works at, and she looked right at me and she's just like, yeah, of course you're the cynic that's going to say stuff like that. Um, it's a bonus that this guy didn't have to do. So really, you can't bitch and complain about something like that. And we are in fact going to use it because we do shop there. So
See,
no,
that's what I was going to say is even though you say, yeah, it's only $32, um, but that's $32 he didn't have to give her.
exactly. And see, that's the other thing is a lot of people would say exactly that oh, it's only $32. That's $32 worth of food we didn't have before. So I'm not
Yeah.
complaining in any way, shape, or form. I'm just super happy that she has an understanding employer who is doing every little thing he can to treat his customers and his employees well during this time. So, cut the man a
Now,
break. Now, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I don't know how you feel about it, but from what you've been saying, this guy's pretty nice, and I know we don't have a whole lot of subscribers, a whole lot of viewers, but maybe shout him out because this is not the first time he's gone above and beyond for his employees.
No, it's not. And actually, thank you for bringing that up because I was a little leery about, shouting out a local business on something like that because, like you said, we don't have a lot of subscribers. And out of the subscribers we do have, I don't think any of you all live in the area. But should you ever be in the greater Johnstown area, of Western Pennsylvania. Randy's Bilo is the name of the small supermarket. Randy is the guy that actually owns the place. Imagine that it's Randy's Bilo. Um, Hella nice guy. He's been really really good throughout this whole thing. So kudos to him. He owns several locations, not a lot of locations, but he does own a few. So if you see one that says Randy's Bilo, that would be his. And yeah, kudos to him. I understand that in difficult times he's got to make some difficult decisions, and one of them could very easily just be to not do anything extra. Now, also in Randy's defense, he has also graciously donated very generously to the school lunch program, as well have some of the other local businesses. Now, one business you guys might know would be Sheets. If you live in the area, Pennsylvania, not so much Ohio, getting down into
Yep.
Maryland, Virginia, and I don't know how far the Sheets Corporation goes, but they're kind
North
of like a 7-Eleven.
North Carolina is as
North
far
Carolina.
south as. Yep.
There you
And
go.
they do have quite a few stores in Ohio.
Okay. I know Western Ohio, like Northwest Toledo, they don't have any, which drives my son and his girlfriend nuts because they live in Toledo and they can't get Sheets. The Sheets Corporation also donating very, very generously to the local school lunch programs. Um, and
as well as they have here. Um, I didn't know that until yesterday when the kids actually brought home, not yesterday, Wednesday, and they actually brought home their school lunches and had Sheets merchandise in them.
yep, yep, that was the first indication for us. Now, Sheets also did it very quietly. They didn't make a big deal about it. They didn't tell anybody they were doing it. They just sent stuff in. Um, so pay attention, guys. All I can ask is that you pay attention to which businesses are doing the right thing and which businesses are doing the wrong things. And after this is all said and done, um, use your best weapon and best reward as a consumer and frequent the businesses that did well afterwards, and maybe don't frequent the businesses that didn't do well afterwards. Now, I'm not going to tell anybody right now, don't go someplace for moral distinctions, especially if you have
That's all you
to.
got.
Yeah, if it's all you got, it's all you got. And I will never fault somebody for doing something like that. But again, after this is all over and we can go back to a semi-normal kind of life, um, might be a good thing to remember. As a consumer, your best weapon and your best reward is your business. If you feel that somebody's done something wrong, don't go to them later. When you have a choice, don't go to them. That's all I can say. Now, in the meantime, I'm not going to get into a lot of discussion today about Captain Crunch and the Sitch, because it's been weighing heavily on me. And Reaper and I actually were starting to have a pretty interesting conversation this morning because he and I are in completely different situations for employment and financially, but there are some interesting things in the works. So I'm also going to advise all of our viewers that you may need to do a little research. You might need to actually dig a little. Don't trust everything you read on Facebook. Don't trust every video you see on YouTube, but get official answers to your very serious questions. Like for me, we were talking about unemployment benefits for the self-employed. Do I qualify? When would I qualify? How would I go about receiving said benefits? Reaper, on the other hand, is um, not a self-employed employee. Works for a company that operates seasonally, shall we say.
Yep.
They have an off season, so his employment dates are different than a lot of people's. So he has some important concerns that he's done a lot of research and has found some answers, found some good answers for him, and
Still more questions.
still more questions. And the questions are not getting answered to the best of our liking, but some of them just not been answered at all yet. And it's going to take some time. So have patience, be excellent to one another, do the whole Bill of Deads thing. Um, and if anybody needs anything, if anybody needs somebody to talk to, you can always reach out to me or Reaper on our Discords. And I know either one of us will be more than happy to sit down and chat with you, even if it's
Yep.
just to have somebody to say hey to. Doesn't have to be um, anything too goofy. Excuse me.
As many of you already know, usually when I'm not streaming, I'm just hanging out in my Discord, and uh, with the current situation, I've noticed that people just come in and chat, which I enjoy. And me shout out Beffles is here. Ball bounces, aka Bar 810, is here as well. And both of them have stopped into Discord just to chat. Bar comes in quite often. Yesterday we had a quite a group going on. We missed out on Mary yesterday though. Mary didn't stop in. But yeah,
Bad Mary, bad Mary.
feel free. Like I said, I'm when I'm not streaming, I'm chilling out in the green room. Feel free to pop in, hang out, chat. If you have any questions, to kind of expand just a little bit on what Timo said with gathering information. Don't just immediately assume that you are not eligible for any of the benefits that are coming down the pike, because chances are you are in fact eligible. Um, in doing research to find answers for myself and Timo, uh, the information that I've come across basically says that this is a very open aid package. So, yeah, do your research. Don't just do nothing because you assume you'll get nothing. uh, excuse me. Mary says she was working on the loft yesterday. Um, yeah, Bethel. We learned Bethels can't drive in any game, uh, not just Farming Simulator. Mary's working on the loft again today, and Galaxy pointed out that uh, just for Hollow Crow, I renamed the green room to Green Room Nerd Safe.
Nerd safe.
Yep, because it is a nerd safe space. Yeah, yeah. Bethels had us all solving puzzles. Nancy Drew game yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, so like I said, I agree with Timo that we're not gonna get into discussions about the situation today. Uh, like he said, just do your research. Don't just rule yourself out. Uh, I've got Davante to file his taxes.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard from him, so I'm not sure exactly how it went. Um, because he ended up he did something wrong and TurboTax had to. But um, yeah, so yeah, do your research, look into it, stay safe. Wash your damn hands.
Wash your damn hands. All right, so I'm putting down a whole bunch of government subsidy signs.
No, you're not.
I am.
Oh,
Now,
Timo.
there's a
Why?
reason I'm doing the government subsidy signs because this is actually a test map. This is not a struggle map. What this one is, what I've been doing a lot of the times, I'm doing a lot of research for other people that play Farming Simulator 19 on console, where they're having trouble finding specific answers. And this is something that I've pretty much done from day one. This is the whole reason I got into playing games and doing the streaming was because there were issues that I wanted. There were questions I had about No Man's Sky that I could not find the answers to. And one of the big things on this particular map is a lot of people wanted to know, how do I do this? Well, on La Caranella, to do a lot of those things, you need 3 materials sometimes. You need a bunch of different equipment, you need different land, and everything else like that. And since factories are not game wide mods, particularly cross console, they're kind of a new concept. But um, as we get closer to next Tuesday is April 7th, where we get the entire platform, cross platforms, get the new DLC from Giants, which is the Baling Pack. Um, it also introduces the first game wide factory, and that is the pellet factory. So a lot of people want to know these things. And honestly, La Caranella is not the map to go out and just farm for quick money. There are no big fields here. There are no big fields here. There's no big equipment that you can use on this map. So I'm going to make a couple $1 million here real quick so that I can actually buy pretty much the entire map and figure out the best locations to put certain crops to be the most beneficial for it and everything else like that. So yeah, screw it. Um, Now I will get rid of the subsidy signs shortly, but I'm going to start with about $45 million, $50 million.
See, now I'm going to test out another theory the next time I fire up Farming Simulator. I saw a YouTuber do it um, in. He basically just did it because he did.
You cut
Um,
out at the end there because he did
so
what?
so he basically did this because he didn't need it anymore. But what what my question is if I just start on farm manager, so I have no equipment, I have $1.2 million. If I buy a harvester with a truck and a trailer and buy a field, harvest that field, and then sell it, and just go around every growth cycle and do that, just buy fields, harvest them, and sell them. If I can make money quicker than buying one field, harvesting it, replanting it, and going that route. So
Interesting.
so instead of having a permanent farm, because when you sell land, you get your money back. So if you
Yes.
bought it for $255,
$100,000. Yeah.
yeah, that last one you bought was 255. If you go and sell that later on in the game, you get all that money back.
Correct.
So basically, what you're buying the land for, say, $100,000. You're harvesting the crop and selling it for, say, 100. Then you're selling the land back, so you're actually not out any money
On the land. Correct.
on the land. So my plan is to test that theory and see how much faster, if at all, I can make money.
All right. So first thoughts on a theory like that is then you are pretty much not paying for planting. So you don't have to worry about any seed costs because if you buy the land when it has a crop,
Yep.
you don't have to worry about that. And the price of the land does not change based
Right.
on what crop is on there. So you do save that money. So I can see getting a little bit of savings there. Um, the speed question is interesting though. Would it actually be faster to
Yeah,
do
see
that
that,
than
and
just doing it over and over and over again?
that's my question. What I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna end up starting 2 games on the same map. One of them will be a traditional farm. I buy a piece of land and I farm that land, planting the best money crop, um, and I'll do that for a set amount of time, and see where I end up. And then I'll do the same map with, basically the wandering farmer method.
All right, so I can see an easy way to gain that system right off the bat. So if you're farming your own field where you have to plant, grow, harvest, plant, grow, harvest, plant, grow, harvest, your main restriction is going to be time. So you have to go through the growth cycle. Whereas if you are
Yes.
going around as a traveling farmer who just harvests, where you buy land, harvest, sell crop, sell land, buy land, harvest, sell crop, sell land, as long as there's multiple fields on the same map that you can harvest in a single day's period, you'll destroy the other farm.
In the
Absolutely,
beginning,
absolutely destroy it. Now, even in the end, because every day you'll be able to do that. Whereas that one field, you have to go through an entire day's growth cycle. So unless you happen to have, let's say you have 10 fields, and you buy a cereal grain harvesting head, and the biggest John Deere that's out there, like the new John Deere that came out the other day. So you go do that, and out of those 10 fields, 5 of them have wheat, barley, oats, canola, whatever you can harvest with that head, and the other 5 have sugar beets, potatoes, cotton, and sunflower. You can harvest 5 fields with that one setup, but with your buy a field harvest. Now, are you going to allow for the purchase of multiple fields
oh
over time?
yeah, see, yeah, and that's kind of what I was getting at when I was beginning. Yeah, the money in the beginning is going to be quick, and easy because I can do multiple fields. But with a normal farm setup, you're constantly expanding. So, you know, uh, 2 or 3 days in, I buy a second field, and now I double or better my income, and so forth and so on. So in the end, it'll be interesting to see what a large scale farm would make versus being able to harvest, say, 5 or so fields, or even 10 fields, depending on what map I choose. Because with the wandering farmer, your money's pretty much always going to be the same. You're not
Well,
going to be
no,
you're not going
no,
to have
because
you're not going to have the
here's the thing.
ability.
Here's the thing. Are you going to allow? Um, Shoot, what was the question I wanted to ask? Are you going to allow leasing of equipment, or just what they own? And can they buy? I mean, it's going to be heavily dependent upon your rules. So if you can only buy one harvester, one header, and one truck, that would definitely be the quick money early and then stagnating quickly, whereas the other one's going to do it. But if you allow upgraded equipment or leasing of equipment, then the traveling farmer is always going to have the advantage.
But not necessarily. So I do allow the lease of multiple equipment.
Okay.
The 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 number of equipment isn't going to change the number of fields. So you're
No, but
only
it's
going to
going
be
to
able to.
allow for different fields to be harvested. So getting not to interrupt you, but getting back to my initial one where I said, there's 10 fields where, on average during a day you can already harvest 5 of them because you have the equipment purchased to do it. so long as it's profitable to lease the equipment and be able to harvest, say, cotton on another field, and then return the equipment with a profit, then there's nothing stopping that guy. Now, yes, the profits will get higher and higher for the paid farmer, but it's going to take so much longer to get there that unless we're talking like a 30-day trial, the traveling farmer is going to kill it. Or at least in my opinion, they're going to kill it. So I guess it depends on how long you run the test.
Now, I haven't decided on the length of time yet, but also keep in mind, um, as far as I'm concerned, as far as me myself doing this test, I'm restricted by how many workers I can hire, because I'm personally not going to harvest the fields. I'm gonna hire a worker to run my harvester,
Okay.
so I can still only have 6 workers. So even even with allowing the purchase or lease of multiple types of equipment, I'm still limited by that. But I do see what you're saying. At some point, um, if done correctly, I could just harvest every field on the map every day.
Yeah, and that's the thing with a 24-hour period. Um, as long as you can, if you're doing this strictly as a time-based thing, so that like every day in game is a day in real life, as long as you break that down, whatever is possible to harvest in a single 24-hour period can be harvested. That traveling that traveling guy's going to kill it every time, because right from the very first day they can harvest everything. So they're going to make 10 times the amount of money the first day. They're going to make 10 times the amount of money the second day. They're going to make 10 times the amount of money the third day. They're going to make 80% the fourth, because stationary farmer finally has enough money to buy a second field.
Right.
But that 80% is going to go for another 4 days, and then it's going to drop down to like 70%, 60%. And until that stationary farmer can buy the entire map, they won't be making the same amount of money. Now, their profitability at that point in time is not going to be that much greater than the traveling farmer, because the traveling farmer has all the money in the world to buy other pieces of equipment or lease them. Speaking of
So
which, I need to. Hold on, I gotta stop time. I've got too much money.
now, and time is another thing. I've taken to running most of my games at times 5. And yeah, it would be what I can get done in a day. But with that being said, and I don't correct, believe the traveling farmer is going to crush it. And with that being said, we've been doing it wrong.
Wait, say that again?
I said I completely agree with you. I think the traveling farmer method is going to crush it. And with that being said, I think we've been doing it wrong all these years.
All right, so yeah, that's kind of interesting. I kind of want to test that out myself now. Because I mean, I remember going back to when we started playing, and particularly when Harley started to come into play with us. What Harley did was she wanted to do contract farming.
Yes.
Um, and she would travel from location to location to location, so that she wasn't bogged down with land ownership. I think I might have just yep, I backed out of the game unintentionally. Apologies. Well, actually, I can do this now. Um, that's an interesting idea. I think what it'll really depend on is choice of maps. Let's take Welkers, because you and I are both familiar with Welkers.
Yep.
Welkers is not a map that you can buy a lot of land quickly. So if the plots of land are not available to purchase by the traveling guy until they have enough money to pretty much afford any single plot on the map.
Yeah,
Let's
because
take Field 6 is, um, was it like $800,000?
yeah, something like that.
So if they can't afford to buy Field 6, they can't afford to farm Field 6, and then therefore they don't make the money from Field 6. Hire Beffels to drive second truck as a handicap. There you
Yeah,
go. I was gonna
yeah,
say hire Beffels. That's gonna be a handicap. Yep, sure enough.
yep, yep.
Um, that's an interesting one. So I mean, there's a lot of variables involved with this idea. I like the idea. It's actually pretty interesting, but I'm pretty sure so long as that traveling guy can afford things, they're gonna kill it.
And that's why I said that's. I agree with you, and think that's why, like I said, we've been doing it wrong all this time.
Well, see, I wouldn't say wrong. I mean, I get the point you're trying to make. We've been doing it all wrong to make as much money as fast as possible. Yeah, we've been going around about it that way, but we've been going with land ownership and farm ownership as the goal,
Well,
not be a traveling harvester or a contract person. Because honestly, if you want to make the most money in game and do it, you accept contracts and you borrow equipment until you can afford to buy your own.
well, and see, that's basically what this is. I mean, you're basically doing contract work, but you're getting all the money. And instead of it being dictated by the game, you're making all the profit. Um, and I lost my thought. So my goal always, with the exception of the mining map, my goal is always the same: to be able to afford to build a farm and have cattle and stuff like that. And the quicker I can get to that, the more fun I have. So this is a different means to the same end.
I got you. Now, you also just said the most important thing, because you were saying, your comment was before we were doing it all wrong. Um, and you just said very succinctly, the whole point of everything you do in this game is to have fun. So you were only doing it wrong, or we've only been doing it wrong if we
It
weren't
wasn't me.
having fun doing the way we were doing it. Now,
Right.
um, there are lots of people that sit there like I just dropped 30 government subsidy signs, and you were like, oh no, Timo, don't do it, blah.
Yeah.
This map is the fun part of this map for me is being able to do everything. If I wanted to struggle, um, I'm perfectly capable of doing a struggle map.
Oh yeah.
I can sit there and, okay, I'm going to farm my little 1.3 acre field. Like even the field that I got here, this piece of crap field. I mean, look at this junky thing.
Yeah.
Could I turn this into a profitable field? Yep. All I need is a planter, a harvester, and I'm good to go. Um, Perfectly capable of doing it. Would I have fun doing it? Yeah, I actually would. I like struggle maps. Do I want to do a struggle map for this particular project? No, no, I do not. Do I want any of these pieces of equipment that I'm selling? No, no, I do not. Why not? Because that's not the point of this map. If I wanted to go back to a struggle aspect of it, I'd be more than happy to actually go grab a totally brand new map that I've never played before. Um, was it the Klepka 1990? I actually want to try out. Looks pretty interesting. So I could go do that and just start from scratch. Now, what you just said though, I mean, you just came up with a whole new challenge of Can a traveling farmer make more money? Can I have fun doing that? Oh, you're goddamn right I could. I would have a ball doing something like that up to a point, and then when it got boring for me, I'd just have to go do something else.
Well,
That's
yeah,
pretty much what it is, and that's why I
yeah,
always have 10 maps. If you go back to my map screen, I would normally have 10 maps. I had 10 maps until I lost my save files.
yeah,
And then when I lost the save files, I started over. So I have the Hagenstead map. That's a perfect map to do a struggle. That is a struggle map, actually. If you go, whoops, wrong button. Let's do this. I'll back out. Just
while you're doing that, I want to say what's up to Crazy Colton Farmington.
ooh, how's it going, Crazy Colt? How you doing, buddy?
Welcome to the stream.
Welcome to it. Interesting name.
Yeah,
All right, so go into multiplayer, create game. So I have my Hagenstead, and look, I have $198,000. I didn't put down any subsidy signs. I have crap equipment. That is a struggle map right there. Save
yeah.
game number one for me is where I go to play if I don't want to have every luxury. Save game number two, Crater Lake, 756,000. Looks like a lot of money. I haven't bought anything yet. The only reason I have 750,000 is because I have a pickup truck and a Scorpion King. That's it. And it's a straight up lumber map, nothing else. Then we get to flat map. Flat map has $45 million. That was my test map for flat map, and I have 45 million because I did in fact drop a bunch of subsidy signs so that I could develop the entire map. Doll Ranch, $560,000. That's a struggle map. That's a straight up everyday harvest, lather, rinse, repeat, lather, rinse, repeat, lather, rinse, repeat. Doll Ranch is very similar to Welker's in the fact that it's a very large map. Field 6 is a quarter of the map. One single
Ooh,
field takes up a quarter of the map. It took us 4.5 hours of straight time, two people planting to seed that field. Um, La Carinella, I just bought. I have too much money on that. Ningan Farms was also a test map for another live stream. Um, No Man's Land test map. I wanted to test it out, and I'm building an entire map from start to finish. And then flat map here is because um, it's a redesign. What happened on the first flat map was that um, for some odd reason, I have either some form of corruption or something. It booted me from multiplayer online mode to career mode and kicked everybody off the farm. So that's why I have two of those. I have to figure out which one is which and go from there. So with La Carinella, that's going to be it's me trying things out. So I have a bunch of different things, but I still have a couple slots left, so I can always do another struggle map. I actually haven't been on here in a while. All right, so I'm missing a mower. I don't need the mower. Screw it. Yeah, let's go ahead and put everything on there and test it out. All right, do we have chat to catch up on?
um,
It's all poking fun at Bethels in her driving. Got it.
yep, yep.
So,
Galaxy's ordering pizza for everybody apparently.
oh, nice. Thanks, Galaxy. Appreciate it. Pepperoni. Perfect.
Yep, pepperoni for me as well.
Domino's is the closest place, but I prefer Papa John's. Just saying. Although, hey, another thing. Getting back to businesses you don't want to send your money to.
Yeah,
Papa John's is one of them. That's just me. And I used
which
to work
which
for them.
which is sad because they actually do have pretty good.
I like their sauce. I like their sauce. Now, I'll give Domino's kudos because Domino's, when I was a kid, was pretty much the crap pizza. All right, so here's another prime example. I have $0 on this map. Why do I have $0? Because I'm not part of a farm. It keeps kicking me off my own farms.
Okay.
I don't know why. Um, All right, so on Haggenstead, I'm obviously not hurting too much for money because I have a Agco Ideal modded harvester with a really damn big head. $200,000, 2 fields, 1 piece of equipment. Is that all I have? Really? All right, so Big Papa Timo's confused. Yeah, I have a harvester and a head and nothing to put it in.
That's what I was gonna say. What did you put your crops in?
I don't know.
Bethel said you were undeserving of your own. That's why they fired you, because you sold all the equipment.
I might have. I might have sold everything just to have a single harvester. All right, so Big Papa Timo needs to get a truck. That's step one. So with $198,000, I can get. I'm pretty sure I can get the truck and trailer of my dreams. Yeah, I have a lot of mods on. So that's 70 and 100. Yeah, I can get what I want. All right, so let's give it a rim job, guys. That was meant to sound dirty. I think I succeeded admirably. I like the green and black, although I want that black. There we go. I like the Trelleborg tires more. Ooh, that added a lot of money. Might have to go with the lizards for a while. We'll buy that. Back up to trucks. Go with the man 6x6. That's really expensive to change colors.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. There we go. 103. Definitely want the 3-point hitch.
Apparently, you have been quoted.
Ooh.
With a really big head.
Yep, that's about right.
Bar, I have not had a chance to download them yet. I had to actually get. I had to put another hard drive in my desktop last night. I was digging around. I've been cleaning up the studio and kind of trying to organize some things, and I found my other laptop hard drive. So I installed it, got it all emptied out, and I moved all of my Steam files over to it, and that took forever. But now I officially have space again.
Alright, so Big Papa Timo now has a truck and a harvester and a dream. I have $13,000, guys. That's all I have to my name. Please send donations to Big Papa Timo Farming at bigpapaTimoFarming.com. My Patreon does in fact have shower pictures of Big Papa Timo. Use it your own risk.
And I promise you guys, if you donate to Patreon, we'll blur them out. But if you don't, then
I'm sending them to you full blown.
Yep.
We'll get the pictures. Except for Galaxy, because that's illegal.
Yeah.
Don't need to serve time. Now that's a great way in these troubling times to get all of your things provided for you is to go to prison.
Yeah.
Nope, not doing it.
Actually, no. They're currently letting prisoners out.
That's interesting.
Seen lots of news reports of that happening.
All right, well, the minute that I see that they start letting the pedos out, just because of the current situation, I'll have a lot of target practice.
Yeah.
Alright, so we got a little canola harvest. You see, now I kind of want to do your thing. Because I have a harvester and I have a truck.
Yep, there you go. That's all you need.
Now, here's the big question.
Bethel said, poor Galaxy always gets shut down. Yep.
Alright, that's cotton. Why do I have a cotton field? Big Papa Timo does not need a cotton field. So let's...
What were you thinking?
I don't know, but that thing is worth $364,000. So that one's worth 130. But we need to see what's on the map in the way of... All right, so we have a cereal head. Is there any wheat? There is, in fact, wheat on the map. But is there any canola?
I was going to say, look for
Because I have canola.
Or...
I have canola. So 15, 25, and 35.
Oh, but you've got something even better.
What?
7, 13, and 23 all have soybean.
Oh, I will get there. Don't worry. The only reason I'm going for canola first is because I currently have canola in the tank.
Gotcha.
So instead of doing that, so how much is this one worth? 133. Let's sell that, and then we will. Hold on, I totally forgot. So now we have $500,000. And I keep pushing the wrong damn button. Alright, so 15. We're going to buy. 25, we're going to buy. And 35, we're going to buy.
You say that as a question?
I did. I did, in fact, say that as a question.
Big Papa Timo's questioning his life choices.
Yes, I'm really questioning, should I have really listened to Reaper again?
Reaper has yet to steer you wrong.
I don't know about that.
Just want to put that out there.
That. We haven't caught Reaper in stealing Big Papa Timo wrong yet. Alright, so I own 15, which that is not the correct map to use to figure out how to get where I want to go. 15, 25, and 35. So 15 is going to be not too bad to get to. Let's go. And away we go. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking buying.
A cotton field?
A cotton field. Now, apparently I had a building here at some point in time, too, because I might have sold that.
Wait, one cotton pick a minute.
I want to go full Windows Defender summary, virus and threat protection. Sorry, my computer beeps at me and gives me really weird warnings sometimes. Your computer has been infected with Captain Crunch. Shit!
Did the stream lose sound? As in all sound or game sound? Maybe...
Yeah, what's up with that?
Yeah.
Now I'm curious.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Can you guys hear us? You might want to type in chat, can they hear us?
Galaxy said he here. Yeah, Mary says
Okay.
she can. Okay. Maybe Bar just his YouTube decided he didn't need to listen anymore.
No sound for you. Come back 1 year.
There's Twiggy.
Twiggy. How are the puppers doing, Twiggy? Apparently I had other... No, maybe I don't know if I had buildings here or not. If I had buildings here, they're not here anymore. Well, this is a small field. I don't even know if this justifies the fuel expenditure of getting here. Definitely can't afford to hire a helper to do this.
Twiggy says puppers are good. They played fetch yesterday and they had
Nice.
and there was much rejoicing.
Sometime in the hopefully near future, I'm going to have to head out west to go see Twiggy. That is one of my goals for the year.
Yeah, okay. We can, as long as you don't specify what year.
Well, I'm hoping
Okay.
2020. Now,
Yeah,
this is obviously no time soon, but I would like to be able to travel out west to go see Twiggy.
Yeah, I've officially decided 2020 is a bust. I want to redo.
Well, you can't take mulligans on years. Now, like I said, we're not going to get deep into stuff today, but somebody posted up on Facebook today that all April birthdays are hereby canceled, and we will be celebrating in October. And I sat there and said, no, I'm going to celebrate my birthday just like I normally do, at home, with my family.
Yeah.
Because that's what I do. That's how I do Big Papa Timo's birthday. It's no different. So I'm celebrating my birthday in April. Damn it! I will have my devil's food cake and chocolate icing, and interior forest fire for all the candles.
See, and I didn't even have that. I didn't even have.
So here's the trick about having a birthday cake on my birthday. I get to bake my own cake.
Well, yeah, and that's why we didn't have cake on day, because I didn't bake one. Bethel says she'll be back. She's got to go get the kids lunch.
Go feed those tiny humans.
Yeah, they kind of get cranky if you don't.
They do, and then they start like grazing. Grazing children are dangerous because they eat indiscriminately. I'm trying to think of something in the wild that eats like a grazing teenager. The closest thing I can say is actually not in the wild. It would just be a domesticated cat who has either run low on food or has run out of food, and then you just remember to feed them again, and they just try to eat everything thinking that it's going to run out again. So they eat so much that they get sick.
Yeah.
Which is what my cats do all the time because they be dumb. Okay, so that didn't turn off the header or anything before it. I kind of expected it to keep running. Sorry, go ahead.
So you, I told you about our cat situation, right?
Yes, Shathid.
Not Shathid.
Shathid.
Not anything yet. But we have figured out that he is one hell of a mouser.
You did say that as well. All right, so what the hell?
Unfortunately, that's one of the byproducts of living in a house as old as I do. Um, there are many, many ways for Mises to get into the house. And inevitably, in the wintertime, what what just happened?
On stream?
Yes.
All right, so I accidentally hit the circle button while the harvester was in contact with the head because I was
Oh.
backing up to hook it up on the trailer. And so it thought that I was trying to hire a worker.
Oh, so it
So it
was
tried
trying
to
to.
attach the header to the rear end of the harvester.
Nice.
Seems legit. All right, so realism's right out the door. I'm just driving on the grass. I don't care.
So yeah, unfortunately, in the wintertime, mouse problem because they're all trying to stay warm too.
Can't fault them for that.
Nope. However, new kitty is having a field day.
With the field mice.
Yep.
All right. Well, this is a cute map. I have to admit that this is not my favorite map in the world.
Probably not the best map for this theory as well, because a lot of these fields are really small.
See, that makes it even better. I think that makes this a perfect test. Well, that sucks. I bought land and it's not grown yet. Okay, so saving content. Game is paused. I guess I should have checked to see if they were grown yet.
I have no idea. Bar. Um,
What did Bar say?
she was probably yelling because you said you couldn't hear game sound, so she was yelling at you. He asked why Beckles yelled his name.
Do we know why Bethels ever does anything?
Because she's Beckles, angel of chaos, rider of gods,
Breaker of games.
breaker of games,
Striker of semis.
striker of semis, and everything else on and off road. To be fair, did you ever play the original Grand Theft Autos, like 1, 2, and 3?
No, I never
Okay,
really
so
did the GTA stuff.
so the original GTAs were quite a bit different. They were Skyview games, so everything was 2D, uh, and you were looking down from above, and that is the way the driving is on her Nancy game. So it's not the easiest situation to drive in, but she still managed to run into everything. I think she even turned around to get the ones she missed.
So she backed up to make sure she had hit things as well.
Yes. See, that's my theory. She's going to say that she was circle. But I'm saying it was because she didn't hit everything the first.
So as much as I want to hire a helper here, I'm going to resist the urge.
Just say no to worker.
Just say no to workers. Because it would have cost me like a whopping $18 to have a harvester or worker harvest this field.
That's a trip to
Alas.
That's a trip to McDonald's.
McChicken sandwich?
Yeah.
It is actually something I'm desiring right now is fast food.
Yeah.
Which is not something I normally eat anyways, but
It's always the things you can't have.
oh, I could have it. I mean, our McDonald's is open. I could go through the drive-through, but I just can't justify spending like $3 on a big Papa Timo Happy Meal. When I know that for that $3 I could go get, 6 pounds of pasta.
Yeah.
Actually, right now for $3, I would probably go buy rice. I've been on a big rice trip recently.
We actually did that. Now, no, we're a big rice eating family, so we always have rice on hand. But it just so happened that, timing being what it was, we were low anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and rice was one of those things that people stocked up on. Luckily, there had been a recent truck delivery at Walmart. Speaking of, when my wife went on her outing on Wednesday, she went to the store and they had toilet paper.
Nice.
But, and I was telling Galaxy this, um, they had all the toilet paper in the middle of the store with fencing around it and a sign that said 1 package per customer. And
Nice.
I told Galaxy it was sad that toilet paper has to have its own secret.
Yeah, but see that's a missed opportunity right there. If they've got like the chain link fence around it, that's a perfect opportunity for a Thunderdome. 2 men enter, 1 man leaves, and one gets 2 rolls of toilet paper
Yeah, I was
because
gonna
they
say, yeah.
survived. Heck yeah.
Uh,
You gotta look on the bright side of life on everything. All right, so
Galaxy.
Twiggy tried to talk the boy into going to get KFC and failed your persuasion check. Well, what were you trying to get at KFC is the first question. What were you ordering? Were you doing like the bowls, or did you just want chicken, or what? And you have to work on your method of persuasions.
All right, so while we're waiting on her to answer, I have to tell you, Galaxy's dad goes to the store yesterday, and apparently, the Galaxy household is in fact running low on toilet paper.
Oh, that sucks.
Uh, so goes to the stores, no toilet paper. I guess calls home, freaking out because he can't find toilet paper. Eventually gives up, comes home, and comes in with a giant box of baby wipes. So Galaxy may not have toilet paper, but he's got baby wipes.
All right, so I gotta point out something though with the baby wipes.
They're
Baby
not
wipes are not
flushable.
flushable. Flushable wipes are not flushable. Please don't make that mistake. So, while it's better to have something to wipe with, I can't argue that. Please bear in
Mary,
mind that those are not flushable, and you will do irreparable harm, but not
Mary
irreparable.
said, Mary's asking if we saw the video of the 18-wheeler of TP that. I actually it came across my news feed. I didn't watch it though. I skimmed over it. Yeah, 18-wheeler hauling toilet paper, rolled over, scattered toilet paper all over the interstate.
All right, we were going to do the three-piece boxes, but I had almost talked him into the $20 bucket with sides since it would be several meals and more economical. So where did you fail on your persuasion check? Where did negotiations break down, Twiggy? That's what I want to know.
Galaxy says, "Oh, we know. My mom take what."
Made that mistake when you were a little right on, right on. All right, now the other reason that I was asking is because last night, Twiggy, what I did was I made the bowls. I don't even know what they call their bowls. But you've got the mashed potatoes, the chicken, the corn, and the gravy all mixed in the bowls. I made homemade versions of those. Okay, so he didn't want to drive, but you said you almost had him talked into it. It was the driving that was the problem. Why didn't you drive?
Yeah.
And honestly, at that point in time, you should have gone to KFC, gotten the food, and not given him any.
Yeah. Yeah. You just go and get it and not share.
Come home with your own three-piece box that's already eaten. And next time you say, hey, we should go to KFC, he'll remember that and be like, well, shit, I'm not getting anything to eat if I don't drive. Because Twiggy went hardcore on that one and just, didn't feed me. All right, I bought another field that was not grown in.
And that was what, 25?
I'm just driving over this cliff. I don't care.
Twiggy said because he's our designated shopper, lever of the house.
Ah, gotcha.
Now, I have to ask, why is he designated to be the lever of the houser?
Probably because he's the one that has to go out and about in the world for work, and she's stay at home, work at home.
But if exposure is the concern, you're exposed as soon as he comes home. Yes, sir.
Are you streaming?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm not gonna go upstairs, but I want. Wait, I actually want. I did them.
By the way, guys, if you need toilet paper, there are packs of it on Amazon. Told my dad after he came home. Yeah, so the Amazon issue is interesting, Galaxy. While you might be able to find it on Amazon, big question of can you get it delivered? Will the supply chain actually work?
At least out here, Amazon is they're running shipping at about a week.
Can't seem to not touch your face.
Right? It's amazing, and it's amazing. People touch their face without realizing it, but it's even harder not to
when you're not supposed to.
Yeah, when you're trying not to.
He's expendable.
He's expendable.
So Twiggy just wants the power of being able to lock the boy out of the house.
Yeah.
Cold-hearted woman. Cold-hearted woman. All right, maybe the problem is that it's 9 a.m. and none of these fields are yet ripened. So I'm not enjoying this as much as I thought I would. I'm gonna try buying that one. I've yet to try not to touch your face. Right on.
And I will add an addendum to Galaxy's toilet paper on Amazon. I'm looking at Amazon right now, and you can in fact get Sandpaper. There's nothing from Amazon though. It's all private sellers. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's still not looking good.
All right, Galaxy, now that you've touched your eye, go sanitize your eye.
Yep. Hand sanitizer. Straight to the eye. Don't really do that.
No.
Mid-lunch crisis. Mid-lunch crisis does not condone that activity.
Whatever that warning is at the beginning of Jackass, just pretend like that's our warning.
Nor do we condone. Can't talk. Words hard.
Words hard.
Nor do we condone picking your nose daily.
I don't condemn it. I mean, if you got a boogie in there, that's got to go. Sometimes the finger's the best way to work something out.
Oh no. Bevel's mom wants to try farming simulator.
Ruh-roh. Can she drive a simulated pickup truck or something? Better
Well,
than Bevel's?
I was gonna say better than Bevel's.
Johnny Knoxville, this is Jackass. Exactly. I'm Big Papa Timo, and this is Jackass.
Yeah.
Better yet, point at somebody else, and that's a jackass.
Yeah.
Here's your sign. Alright, so we've got canola in the truck. And we actually have a decent field here of soy to harvest that I can actually hire a worker on while I go sell the canola. We'll finally see if I can make some money.
Apparently, Bethel's mom hits the mailbox every winter, even with a backup camera.
It's probably because everything in the backup camera is backwards. Saving content. Game is paused. Alright, so let's see. Where are we selling canola? That's what I have. Canola. Whoops, wrong button. Ooh, actually, canola's going for a pretty good price at the port. Where is the port on this map? I have no idea. Way up there.
Uh-oh.
Ruh-roh?
Apparently, ball bounces, strikes again.
What happened? Lost sound?
Nope. Bethel's just got a gift of farming simulator DLCs.
Oh, nice.
Bethel says she's supposed to be working on homework. Well, then what were you doing on Steam in the first place? Can't blame that on Bar.
Research. So I want to be able to turn collision on with pedestrians. Just pedestrians. I want to turn the pedestrians into the floppy goats of Goat Simulator.
Oh, Galaxy, you poor, poor man. Poor, poor boy, whatever you want to call yourself.
Man-child.
Yes, man-child. Man-child is going saying,
Devante, what's up, buddy? Oreos for Devante.
what is that? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 rolls, 17. No, I take that back. 10 rolls of toilet paper for $30. And it's Really bad toilet paper.
All right, field 1 is wheat. Field 2 is barley.
The only thing I'm gonna say, Galaxy, is hoard the baby wipes.
All right, now I'm going to give you a piece of advice. When in doubt, and you run out of toilet paper or baby wipes,
There's the
always,
shower.
you can always take a shower. Just waffle stomp those little turds. All right, $30,000 in harvest. All right, where was the other soybean field? 7? So we need to go take a look at 7 and make sure it actually has harvestable crop. Alright, time to start the day. You have fun with that.
Oh, let's see. Devontae has graced us with Oreos.
Waffle stomp. Alright, so yes, waffle stomp. So you know what a waffle press looks like? How it puts that shape in waffles? Some bathroom drains have a very similar appearance. So the idea of a waffle stomp is to basically stomp the things through that grate. That's the term waffle stomp.
Devontae said, "Oh my God, I was playing Farming Simulator last night. The cars and trains, with the cars and trains on, hit my big tractor and pushed me like a bug." And Bethel said, "Not so easy to ride the train with a harvester now, is it?"
Actually, I have no problem riding the train with a harvester.
Neither does Bethel's.
All right, field 7 is not grown in yet. So yeah, there's certain problems with this theory. There are in fact certain problems with this theory.
Yeah. Ooh. Also, problems with driving into the gate before it opens, apparently.
Yes,
yes. As you were explaining Waffle Stomp, Galaxy goes, "Oh God, no, 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 I get stop." It's not going to let you back in. It said, "No, you ran into me once already. I'm not moving."
just had to get closer to it. That's some serious stream lag right there, by the way.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing I do like about this map is that even though everything is kind of small field-wise, it accepts my yawns without judgment. Everything's fairly well laid out. It's not too hard to get in or out of anything. It's not bad. It's not bad. Oh, I hope I have enough capacity to finish that one off. No care. No cars hit like Trey.
Yes, the cars in this game are immovable objects.
But you are not an unstoppable force.
Very cool.
You are, in fact, a very stoppable force. All right, Big Papa Timo's got to go get some more coffee. I will be back in just a moment. I will leave you in the capable hands of Fear the Reaper.
Big Papa Timo will be back after a message from our sponsors. Galaxy's in a sugar coma because he drank some Gatorade last night. Yeah, you might want to break that up with a little bit of water there, buddy. And his sponsor is Bounty, the quicker picker-upper. Oreos! It's fascinating watching Big Papa Timo's harvester back, and the fact that the worker can't get all of it. He does on this end, but not on the other end. Any hidden stuff in those Oreos this time? Yeah, Galaxy. Davante put curry in your Oreos, so you burned through the toilet paper you got left. That would hurt. Yeah, just a little bit. So Dave Ante, how did the phone call go last night? Are you all filed?
I have returned.
Welcome back.
Why, thank you. Thank you very much.
Harvester's almost full.
Harvester is, in fact, almost full. So, gotta touch on a subject that I had brought up before about companies that you might want to think about. So, as you all know, I make LARP gear, or I did make LARP gear before all this came to pass. Just got a notice from Th3, which is a sales platform that I use, with a hot tip that fabric face masks are in great demand, and that they were advising everybody to pretty much go out and make fabric face masks because they're super, super popular. I have a problem with this. I have a serious problem with this because I'm also a former medical professional, and I know that fabric face masks offer a 3% reduction. 3% reduction. That's it. Now, feeding into the general population's fear, offering people a false sense of security and hope, I feel, is dangerous and irresponsible. And the fact that this platform suggested that anybody who wants to make money right now engage in that type of activity is extremely problematic for me. Now I've been having a lot of personal struggles recently. It's better if you have a regular mask underneath it. Yeah, if you're wearing an N95 mask underneath of it, then yeah, it's just a fashion statement. I get you on that. And I've actually had people ask me to make leather face masks. And I've actually refused. The reason I've refused is because I know
It's not going to do anything.
they don't do shit, excuse my language, but offering people a false sense of security is dangerous because then they're going to take more risks thinking that they're safer. So, yeah, so with all the difficulties I've been having, business-wise and financially with everything going on, now I have to actually sit there and think, do I want to deal with a company that made this suggestion? Now, when this all started, I put my Etsy shop on vacation mode when all of this started to happen, because as a non-life sustaining business, when Governor Wolf on March 19th issued the proclamation that all non-life sustaining businesses had to close in Pennsylvania, I followed that guideline. I shuttered my business. I should probably not drive through the cute little town of Hagenstead with the harvester. Oh, this might be problematic. Yeah, so now I have a moral dilemma and conundrum, and I'm driving through this cute, quaint little villa in a harvester. I need to get out of here. Ah! Abort! Oh, nope. Alright, so this reminds me of World of Warcraft. This is like Stormwind, the Alliance capital. I'm driving through the Alliance capital in a harvester. This is pretty funny.
So, Dave Ante, apparently TurboTax can't file a zero return, which is interesting. You're right, they can't punish you for not filing, but that wasn't the point. The point was actually so you have a bank account on file and a tax return on file, so you don't have to wait 5 months to get a paper check. But after I spoke to you in doing all the research that I've been doing and keeping up with it, they are supposed to. Now this works on government time, and unfortunately, we know what government time is like. But they are supposed to put up an additional website for people that do not have a bank account on file, to where you can go and put in that information. But again, it's the government, and unfortunately, like Timo and I were talking before the stream, this is all new territory for them. Nobody really knows what to do or how to do it, so it's going to take some time. I would recommend doing your own research to find out what is the best option for you, whether it be trying to file a zero return, another service, or waiting to see if that website comes up, or how you want to do it. Yeah, definitely dig into that and see what's going to work for your situation. Mary said, can't get medical masks here. Local hospital did ask for 2-layer fabric masks. I'm going to put something in the middle meant to be used for embroidery. Oh dear. Okay, so I'm sorry that your hospital is asking for fabric masks. And I touched on this. We were talking about this. The group was talking about it yesterday in chat. The surgical masks, or the medical grade N95 mask, it has nothing to do with what they're made of, because they're made of common materials. It's what they're treated with.
Well, it also
Now,
does have something to do with what they're made of, and the specific material that they use for an N95 mask is a very dense weave, specific size and shape pattern, so that the treated material that they put on top of it catches and comes into contact with certain sized particulates, fluids, etc. The problem with a fabric mask is that you're not using basically
the holes are too big.
the holes are too big, and I'm going to use a colander as an example. You wouldn't use the same colander to strain tomatoes as you would for pasta. That's not the best analogy, because you're probably going to use the same one for both, but water goes through your colander really, really well. I'll use a better example that resonates really, really close with me. I'm not going to use a colander to make my coffee. I'm going to use some form of a coffee filter, either the gold mesh screen that I have that is an ultra fine screen, or I'm going to use a fabric or cloth or paper coffee filter. Because if I put my coffee in my colander and then pour water on it, not only does the water go straight through, so does the coffee. So imagine all of those coffee grounds being the particulates and the fluids you're trying to stop from going through. That fabric face mask is basically a colander, where what people actually need is a coffee filter, and that they're not getting it. So yeah, very, very disappointed in stuff. The sheer fact that people are even considering, oh, that's $800,000. I can't afford that one. Another example would be let's use a seat belt as the analogy. Do you want to get in a 100-mile-an-hour car? Or do you want to get in a NASCAR vehicle with a seat belt, or do you want like 2 pieces of elastic to strap you into the seat? That's pretty much what we're getting at here.
And I understand because I was there when Mary talked about this the first time. I understand what she's saying, and the fabric she's talking about is better. But again, it's still not correct. And the fact that the hospital itself is asking for fabric face masks is very disappointing.
Yes, and the big thing is that, you know, something is better than nothing. Don't get me wrong. A 3% reduction in risk is better than a 0% reduction in risk, and a 7% reduction in risk is much better than a 3% reduction in risk. But the whole point of an N95 mask is a 95% reduction in risk. That's the point. Now, the other thing with it, you know, you have all the reports of hospitals reusing PPE, where they're basically using the same mask over and over and over again. And I understand that medical professionals are being put in a very, very difficult situation right now, where they are doing practices that they know are not the best, but it is of course better than nothing. And when they recycle these masks, they're making sure that, you know, the masks that they're using, because they still have to wear a mask when they go into a room with a non-Captain Crunch patient. So those are the masks that they're really reusing. They're not walking into a room with a highly infectious individual, wearing a mask in there, and then taking that same mask and wearing it into another room. What a lot of them are doing is they're wearing the mask into the room with one patient, then they are storing that mask for their own personal reuse when returning to that particular patient and room, so that they're not wasting a new mask every time they go into that room. They're not using 5 masks. They're only using 1, and they're using it repeatedly. So I mean, they're taking certain precautions, and they're doing certain things the right way with what they have. But I have a huge problem with people saying, you know, use substandard equipment because it will make you feel better. If you feel better and you feel you're safe with, you know, Granny's doily on your face, you're going to go out and do stupid shit. Excuse my language again. Question: have you seen the smart air filters analysis of data where they determined that cotton materials filtered out approximately 50% of 0.2 micron particles similar in size to the coronavirus? They are also as easy to breathe through as surgical masks, which makes them more comfortable enough to wear for several hours. No, I have not seen that. Let me actually, just for gits and shiggles, vacuum cleaner bags, dish towel. Okay, see, here's no. No, 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 no. Sorry, I'm actually looking at this. All right, so here's the smartairfilters.com problem. They're selling something. Right off the bat, they are selling something, and what they're selling is, well, they're selling 2 things. First off, they're selling false hope. Second, they're selling a product. I am extremely leery right off the bat when any company says, here's the best way to do it. Oh, by the way, all of our products are made from the best materials by our shit to do this. While they do, in fact, show a whole bunch of things out there, they're still selling something. They're profiting from fear mongering, and I have a lot of serious issues and serious concern with this. There are people that are going to come to greater harm because of misinformation. The false sense of security is going to lead to mistakes that should never have been made. So when it comes down to it, more importantly than people cutting up their 1,200 count Egyptian cotton pillowcases and making a mask so that they can go to the store feeling safe and secure, and then when they get to the store they run into somebody who's also wearing Granny's doily on their face, who thinks that they're just as safe and secure because they've got Grandma's protection on their face. That person that has Grandma's doily on the face never should have left the damn house. And they only left it because they felt that they were safer because they had taken some form of precaution. Some form of precaution is, I can't stress this enough, it's just, sometimes it's dangerous. If you take an action because you feel you are protected when you're actually not, your action in and of itself is more dangerous than no action at all. I can't, having trouble verbalizing what I'm trying to say. It's best to just stay the F at home. Don't go out, don't do anything, and you don't have to take those precautions because they're not going to help you. They're not going to help you, and if it leads you to do other things because you thought you were taking precautions, that's even worse. All right, Twiggy, have a good meeting. Let me go ahead and go up there. Worry about the people out there using HEPA filter vacuum bags that might have fiberglass in them. Good point also. I hadn't even touched on that subject, that now you have a bunch of people putting things on their face that were not designed for your face in a product form that was manufactured in a way that is not the way that that particular material should be handled. Also important. Yeah, interesting. Well, we kind of veered off topic here. You still with me, Reaper?
Was I muted?
I think you were.
Okay. So I have a question for Beffels. She says, I have asthma, work in healthcare, and don't have PPE for work. We have gloves. I want to know how you get the gloves to stay on your face.
I want to know how you breathe through the gloves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mary Love, I know
True.
this is cruel, but Darwin will prevail. Hey, Beffels, I hate to point something out to you. Darwin's been dead for a long time. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Now, here's where I have the biggest problem with a lot of this. And it's right back to that same point. You are going to have people that otherwise would have done the right thing and stayed away. But now that they are dumb and they feel that they are safe, they're going to go out and do things. And they're going to put other people at risk. And it's not even them that's going to be the problem. So far, the most interesting thing that I've seen is actually the study that came out about Iceland. Iceland has a very, very small population, They are a very isolated island. They don't have to worry about people crossing their borders because people don't just come swimming up out of the sea. They might come over on a boat or on an airplane, but if Iceland shuts their borders, it's a long, cold swim to the nearest island, so they don't have to worry about just random people showing up. But they also have a pretty decent economy, a pretty decent medical system, and a population that is used to strange strange requests being put upon them for medical purposes. A few years back, you had, with the beginning of the craze for DNA testing, the entire population of Iceland was basically asked to give a blood sample so that their DNA could all be mapped. And 98% of Iceland's population said, okay, take my blood. This sounds cool. Let's find out where we're all from. And they found that, Iceland's population, other than immigrants, people that were native Icelanders, all shared common ancestry. And it was a great way to map out certain things on the DNA. So recently they asked a whole large chunk of them. They had, I think, 50,000 available test kits that they wanted to just test 50,000 random people. And the population of Iceland said, okay, subjected themselves to a relatively easy but uncomfortable test, where they stick the cotton swab all the way to the back of your sinuses through your nose and try and jam the back of your brain up. And they tested all these people and come to find out that out of the 50,000 people that they had tested, a lot more of them actually tested positive for corona than they anticipated. What was really strange about the test was out of all of those people that tested positive, 50% of them were asymptomatic. But they were still following protocol. They were staying at home. They were avoiding, they were practicing social distancing. They were telecommuting. They were doing everything in their power to help spread this. If you take a population like that suddenly thinks that they have a magic shield and therefore can go out and do things. Now, I don't think the population of Iceland is going to put Grandma's doily on their face and go out and about and party like it's 1999, but there are plenty of dumb people out there that will, thinking that cloth mask is gonna do it. So yeah. Problem, duct tape. Duct tape works perfect every time. Best face mask ever. When in doubt, just use an entire roll, wrap it around your head, sticky side in.
Yeah.
Because that's the best way to do it. Trap all those things trying to get out, not the things trying to go in. And again, it really comes down to, we're not trying to protect ourselves here. We're trying to protect other people. So your cloth breath mask, when you sneeze, inside of your cloth breath mask, while it does in fact catch like the phlegm, which is now stuck against your face, which is pretty gross, you've basically forced an aerosolization of liquid particulates. Because now it has to force its way out of all these tiny little holes. And fluids under pressure are amazing at doing that. So what would have been a droplet the size of, let's say, a basketball, is now 100 droplets the size of ping pong balls that fly further, faster than before, and will contaminate actually more surfaces than they would have before. I don't even know if this is the best place to sell, but screw it, I'm right here doing it. All right.
So your info is covered up by subscribers there. How much money have we made so far?
I'm sorry, what?
I said your information corner is covered up by your total subscribers. How much money have we made so far?
Oh, sorry. I have $395,000 right now, but I have to sell this land. So, saving content. Game is paused. All right. So if I sell this plot of land, that puts us up to $570,000. So we've made about 70 grand so far, but we own nothing, have nothing to show for it other than a truck and a harvester. So we've made about 70, just about 70 grand. So now what we need to do is we need to find another crop that we can purchase. There's a bunch of little fields. Let's see where the barley's at. Yeah, so this map I don't think is the best one to do this on.
Yeah, you would. I think it's going to work better with maps with bigger fields.
Yeah.
You know, where you're making, you know, $80,000 or $100,000 per field.
It's an interesting thought though, for sure.
See, and I mean, you'll make with field number one.
You're
Um,
breaking up. Field number one on what?
field number one would be a good chunk of change.
Unfortunately, the land itself is a good chunk of change. I don't have $800,000 to buy it.
Yeah.
But that could be a $20,000 profit field, easy, depending on what the crop was. Field 40 wouldn't be a bad one. So yeah, the big ones. Get it? He lives on in Florida, didn't you know? Did he find the Ponce de Leon Hotel and the Fountain of Youth? I only say that because I've been to St. Augustine and I've drank the water from the Fountain of Youth and it's horrible. Tastes like ass, straight up like ass. So I know Devante's pain with finding drinkable Florida water recently. Not the easiest thing in the world to do. Not the easiest thing in the world to do.
So I've been talking to Galaxy on Discord. Excuse me. And we started this conversation yesterday. Well, we actually started it before that, but he's been running into issues with his graphics card on his PC.
Okay.
And I recommended getting a different getting an upgraded graphics card, which costs money, and you know, money to a 15-year-old is pretty hard to come by. So he mentioned to me yesterday that he had bought concert tickets for an upcoming concert, which has obviously been postponed, and wanted to know if it was a good idea if he just refunded the tickets and used that money for the graphics card. And I told him it was up to him. Well, apparently he did that, and they tried to only give him the tickets were $300. They tried to only give him $200 back and used the excuse that the band still needed to make money. So they were only going to give him a partial. Now, fortunately, from the sounds of it, Galaxy's father can be quite persuasive, because after some fighting and arguing and moving up the food chain, they did in fact get all of their money back from the tickets. But you know, that's some scummy business practices there as well.
That is now using the excuse that the band still needs to make some money. Um, Now, the three of us live in Pennsylvania. So, luckily, I can speak on personal experience with contract law in Pennsylvania. If the band doesn't actually provide a service, which by not performing the concert they have not, and they didn't do it in a timely fashion, therefore they're the ones in breach of contract, and therefore they are the ones that don't need to make any money. That is, in fact, not the case. Now, depending on where you bought the tickets, this is where it gets problematic. If you had purchased the tickets from, say, Ticketmaster, or I don't know, are there other ticket selling venues these days?
StubHub.
Yeah, but
Yeah, there's a.
StubHub is basically just a clearinghouse of different places where you can sell tickets that were, say, purchased on or purchased by or purchased from Ticketmaster. Ticketmaster is basically the ticketing agent for it. They, in fact, did provide their service by issuing the tickets and handling all the contract negotiations between the band and the ticket holder. They could have gotten away very easily with saying, we're going to refund you the cost of the concert itself, but our service fees are non-refundable, because they did in fact act in good faith, provided the service that they were contracted to do, which is, um, issue you a ticket to the concert. So that's where that gets um, hard for the refund aspect of that. But the band has no business keeping the money, so I don't see how that would ever hold up. Now, here's the unfortunate thing: when it comes down to contract disputes on things like that, it really comes down to who's got the money to fight it in court.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going, Tragic? Um, and that's where things get really, really problematic because honestly, who has the money to take a $300 um, a $300 ticket to court where it's going to cost you $1,000 in legal fees to get your $300 back? Ironically, the answer to that is Ticketmaster
Yeah.
and the band. They've already got legal counsel in place for stuff like that, so that's where you get a lot of people get um, screwed over on such like that. Um, so yeah, it's unfortunate. Um, yeah, I'm glad you got your money back on it though.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong, the band is getting hit just as hard as the rest because they can't do the shows, they're not making and I get that, but holding tickets for a concert that has been postponed indefinitely, you know,
It's
I
kind of
can see.
crappy. Well,
Yeah,
it's very crappy. But then again, you also got to remember that the band would have lived up to the contract had they had the opportunity. Probably they would have put
right,
on the show. They were acting in
right.
good faith. They wanted to perform. They're just not allowed to. So I mean,
Yeah,
there's all sorts of
it's not.
problematic things about it.
Yeah, it's not the band's fault. It's not. It's not Galaxy's fault for wanting the money back to use it for something else. It's a bad situation, but I'm glad that Galaxy got all of his money back.
Yeah.
And no, Mary, you can't has streaming in 2 hours.
You can have a nap if you want. I don't personally care. I'm not going to fault you for wanting a nap. don't care about decals on this one. Alright, I bought a very, very large harvester for a very, very small map.
Did you get the new John Deere?
I did.
Ooh.
I got
What is that?
the beast.
What is that? 22,000 liter capacity?
Yep.
Yeah, that thing's a monster. Oh yeah.
It is a joy. Truly a joy. Alright, of course now what I need to do on this is figure out where the heck I want to go. So we're going to do fruit types.
Galaxy needs another nap. He's tired.
We have millet. Let's go get some millet. Field 12. I know where field 12 is. Heck yeah. I like millet.
I hate millet.
My favorite crop on the game right now is the vermin grass. Or vermingunga grass, or however the heck you pronounce it. How much was that? The harvester? A lot.
Yes. I believe it's over half a.
$500,000, yeah. With the head.
And I actually hate millet in real life. Because it's very tiny.
It's great for bird seed.
Yes, and that's why I know what millet is, because we made birdseed.
Yep.
Millet
works wonders in suet.
it gets everywhere.
Yes, it does. It does. It, in fact, gets everywhere.
It's kind of like sand. It creeps up places that it shouldn't.
All right, Anakin. I hate sand. It gets everywhere. I could have actually gotten the really big header for this. But I decided against it. I went with the 9 meter. Just because I wanna see some things. So now I'm curious though, what was the concert?
He actually didn't tell me what the band was. When he asked me if he should take it, I said, do you want to see the concert? And he said, you know, sitting here at home playing video games, I'm not really listening. So no.
Honestly, the other thing that you have a lot of these events that were postponed. One of the things that's going to be really difficult coming into the future is rescheduling. Rescheduling is going to be a problem.
Yep.
Because a lot of people have contracts for stuff that are still going to have to be fulfilled. So like say the band was supposed to do the concert in October and they haven't postponed that yet, but you have a band that was supposed to have a concert in April and the venue doesn't have anything available for a time. It's not like you can just kick one out and force it there. So finding the times to use these, also a lot of people are going to have trouble finding time for leisure activities. While the stimulus checks and everything and the unemployment are great, those are barely life-sustaining. So when people do go back to work, a lot of people have burned through vacation time. A lot of people have burned through their sick and accident leave. A lot of people are not going to have time to take over. And here's my big fear, is that while you do have a lot of companies are acting like they're understanding of people's plights. They're deferring payments. They're not canceling services right now and everything else like that. What happens 6 months from now once everything is back and rolling the way that it should be, and all of those companies that deferred payments or didn't cancel your services want payment for services provided, and you've got a back bill of 6 months worth of unpaid cable. Um, and those companies have every right to expect payment for services paid because services are not free. Cable in particular, let's take it. Now I don't like cable fees because cable is expensive for the services provided, but I understand that they are providing a service. I agreed to pay for said service. While my cable company right now won't disconnect my service for non-payment until this all is over, they sure as shit are going to do it
As soon as
as soon as they can. As
Yeah.
soon as they can, because they're businesses. They're not doing this for good reasons. They're doing it because they understand that um, while it's in very poor taste to try and force profitability now, enforcing profitability later is going to be a necessity. So 6 months from now, a lot of people are not going to have a lot of leisure time. So I agree that getting the refund is probably the better idea. Now, granted, Galaxy is not, your average day-to-day worker or anything else like that. He has the options of still being, and this is not meant to sound offensive, a kid.
Yeah.
So you could make a choice, but for me that would have been a no-brainer. Straight up would have been a no-brainer. Do I want to take the refund now, or do I want to see the show later? I don't know that I'm going to be able to see the show later.
Well,
But
and
I
that's
know for
kind
a
of where,
fact I need the money now.
and I was gonna say, yeah, that's where a lot of people are right now. They're sitting here looking at, savings are running low. But I have this $300 tied up in these tickets that I may or may not be able to use. That's money that I need now and
Yeah,
can
call
go
JG
to.
Wentworth, 877 Cash Now.
Yeah.
This show is in no way, shape, or form sponsoring JG Wentworth, nor are we sponsored by them. I just like the catchy jingle.
But if you do happen to work for JG Wentworth, we would absolutely love a sponsorship.
We could use cash now, that's for sure.
Yep, we could use cash now. But yeah, and that's, unfortunately for the band and unfortunately for Ticketmaster, whoever the ticket seller is, that's what's happening is people are going concert maybe later on or food on the table now.
Yeah.
So
I'm taking
yeah,
the food on the table now because if I starve to death, I can't go to the concert later anyways.
yeah.
Oh, I'm doing sorghum, not millet.
Black Veil Brides. I've never heard of said band.
Now that doesn't surprise me because you're old.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say
I'm
yeah.
old.
I'm not hip to what the cool cats are doing these days.
It's hip to be square. Do 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 do. Let's do a little Huey Lewis in the news.
Only 8 seconds worth.
Exactly. All right.
And
So
you actually better cut that back to 5 or 6 just in case YouTube algorithm is in overdrive.
yeah, no kidding. All right, grain container at 10,000 or grain container at 3,500. I'm thinking grain container at 3,500. That's what I'm thinking. Same capacity and everything.
Hmm.
Yep, I just bought 5 of those in very quick succession.
Interesting. Why do you need 5 grain containers?
So I don't have to pick them up and move them as often.
Okay.
I can just drop them in locations and kind of fire and forget.
Gotcha.
So I will strategically place them to. Oops, nope. I wanted to change that.
They're not new. They're an old band. They started in 07.
That's a new
No,
band.
Galaxy.
That's a
That's
new
a new
band.
band. Reaper, you're not old. Thank you, sir. But yeah, 07 is not an old band. Maybe if I was 15, that means I would have been born in what? 05? So yeah, for you that would be a new band or an old band because they've been around almost your entire life.
All right, this is.
Tragic Trucker. Contemplate snap. Computer message. Your load is ready. Go.
Why is this not letting me do what I want to do?
What are you trying to do?
Trying to turn it into a hook truck.
Because you can't turn it into a hook truck. You have to buy the hook truck.
I thought the Warrior Plus Plus mod pack was multiple things.
Maybe that's the which one
Maybe.
is that?
Maybe I have to
One
do
of
it first because I had the
one of the mod packs, I cannot remember which one. Maybe it was the Hulk. One of them comes with multiple. Yeah, it is the Warrior because there's the log truck. Keep scrolling over.
There it is. There's the hook lift. All right, so what it was is I chose the color first, which was problematic.
Yeah.
And that's why it wouldn't let me do the. No, I don't want to. I'm just going to growl at things. F it. Good enough.
No, you were born in 04. I was close. Yeah, old bands for us would be like Journey.
The Cure.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah, The Cure. The Doors. The Beatles.
Rolling
Stones.
Stones. Definitely the Stones.
Yep, the Stones.
Definitely the Stones. All right, so the point of this is now I can take these 45,000 liter grain containers and drop them off at the location and just leave it in the field basically instead of leaving an entire truck. I can leave a container that can be picked up. Now, the way that this becomes really efficient is when you have multiple people on the map.
Yeah.
And you have a truck driver.
I can see that. Steel Panther, yes.
Steel Panther. Steel Dragon.
AC/DC, another go to.
Yeah, that is definitely an old band.
Air Supply.
Boston, Journey, Chicago, Temptations, Dewey Cox. Sorry, Dewey Cox was a Hootie and the Blowfish. Good old Hootie and the Blowfish. Although Darius Rucker right now is only he's no longer Hootie. He just does straight up country.
Yeah.
Straight up country.
Now he did do late last year, I think, with Hootie and the Blowfish.
The reunion.
Yeah.
Interesting story about Hootie and the Blowfish. Half of them went to high school relatively close to me.
Ah.
Went to Seneca Valley High School in Germantown, Maryland.
9-inch nails.
Ooh, Trent Reznor.
Trent Reznor actually went to the same high school as I.
Very talented individual.
Yes.
Now, I don't know if this is too tall for... I am curious. So, another goofy thing about the John Deere, if you want to get in the John Deere, I'm going to show you something kind of cool that I figured out already. So they went for a little bit of realism. Normally you can just go running right up to a harvester and try and enter.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll normally slurp you right in there. I am furiously pushing the square button. Not letting me in. If you want to get into the John Deere, you have to go around to the ladder.
Nice.
So you can't just jump up to this thing while it's in motion, run up behind it, and pop right in. You do actually have to go to the ladder side, which is... It's annoying at times, but I do kind of like that feature.
Yeah. That's
I do
pretty
kind of
cool.
like that feature. Wow, this thing takes forever to unload. 22,000 liters of sorghum later. Boop, there you go. Actually, that was only at 80%, so it was like 18,000. I do like the new John Deeres. They handle really well. That extra capacity is super nice and handy. So I'm happy with them. Alright, so I'm going to drop this container. Boop. I'm gonna hit the fence first. Drop this container out of the way. Yeah, so basically what I've been doing a lot is on the Facebook page, I've got a group of people that I've been doing a lot of community farming with. Another streamer in particular. He and I run a lot of community co-streams and stuff like that. But he likes to farm with viewers. Or at least test viewers out until they become decent farmers, I should say. You know, not just straight up randos all the time, but it is an option. And so a lot of the times when we're on these community maps, we have people that are not really familiar with most efficient farming methods. So sometimes it's best to just have an easy task for somebody to do, and running container trucks
I gotcha.
tends to be one of those things that, you know, you can sit there and say, okay, go pick up the container at field 19. Go pick up the container at field 23. You know, and then take it to this location. But also, with the size of this map and the size of these fields, La Carinella is not... I mean, as you can see on the map here, everything is round. There are no big square fields. There's no way to square off a lot of these fields. Hell, some of these fields you can't even combine because there will be a string of trees between them, like here between 22 and 23.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of trees in the way. So you can't just can't combine like we did on Welkers and everything else like that. So dropping off the containers, this truck can get just about anywhere. There's also a lot of fences and gates between here. So like this one you'll come, and this is the average size gate. for something, you can't get a full-size truck in and out of here very well, especially if you have an inexperienced driver.
Yeah.
But you can get the container trucks through there quite nicely. So we started to develop that, and what I'm doing right now is, again on La Caranella, I'm doing a lot of the testing to see what makes things operate smoother for later operations. You know, where are the best places to put containers, which fields are the best ones to have them, and then in relation to where things are on the map, where are the best fields to plant certain crops. So like when you look at the map again, so we have here, there's this building here, the pellet factory. So the pellet takes biomass to manufacture. So biomass we need to have relatively close to one of the compost stations is where you're going to need to do the biomass to get stuff there. So ironically, the pellet factory is pretty far away from the compost plant. It's easier to bring the biomass from the compost plant to the pellet factory, but it's easier to make the material for the compost at field 19. So if you're doing straw or manure or sugarcane, what I've been doing is doing a couple rows of sugarcane in field 19, and then the rest of field 19 is grass.
Yeah.
Or a forage wagon type material. So whatever I plant here, whether it's wheat, whatever, the forage wagon will turn that. I'll run over it with the mower, and it'll become straw. So like you hit it with the forage wagon with the mower attachment and turn that into straw. Then I can make that into the biomass. So I'm just testing out a bunch of little things like that to alleviate all of my frustrations at a later time. So I don't have to get mad at people for screwing up where they're putting things on the map.
Yeah, I got you.
Because we know Big Papa Timo can be a little bit particular with how things are done. That and also testing equipment now to see if it'll even fit through a damn gate before you buy it on a map where you're limited in funds. Super useful.
Tragic says my truck computer has a bad quote for 2020. Does that count? Guess it depends on what it is. Is it bad quote worthy?
Now I'm curious. Let's hear it so we can make the distinction.
Gotta love game physics.
Gotta love what?
Game physics.
Yes.
I just watched it suck the container to your hook.
Yes, I love the different types of magnets in this game.
Yeah.
Particularly the wood magnet. The wood magnet is my favorite.
We need each trailer to be butt to butt. Interesting.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Because back to back wasn't a thing, apparently.
I do love how this is cotton again. Now, one of the other goofy things about, all right, so this is the compost place, and it shows here the signs. You've got sugarcane, manure, or straw. There used to be another sign here for wood chips, but they took that out. One of the funny things about this map, though, is the timing. So if you're not careful, you get stuck here because the gate closes from 10 to 10.
Oh.
Yeah. That's all sorts of fun. And then the shop is open from 8 to 8. So sometimes you'll buy a vehicle at like 9 o'clock at night. You can't get it. Didn't need to there we go. Ah, I didn't mean to go that way. I meant to just drive straight across the field. A ton of fields that cannot, or a ton of trees that cannot be cut down. A bunch of other ones can, but they don't really do anything for you other than freeing up your line of sight. And you cannot cut down the fences.
See, and that's the map that we started, that Mary started, we're all working on. I have a problem with because there are fences and trees around. Well, there are trees around every field, and there are fences around quite a few of them. The one I actually couldn't find a way into. I went around the whole thing and it's completely fenced in. There's no gate. There's no way to get in. It's just an unusable field.
I find that hard to believe, but not impossible.
I don't know if it was a glitch. Maybe, you know, he forgot to put in a gate.
That is entirely possible.
Or whether he's just laughing, saying, haha, you can't field.
Now, there may be one fence post that you can actually cut down that will get rid of the whole thing. Or you might be able to cut certain fence posts down and make a hole.
Yeah, I haven't tried to cut anything down yet. I haven't received it yet, Tragic. Is the chainsaw a mod? No, it is not.
Oh, there's in-game chainsaws.
Would you mind showing Dave on to
Sure.
where?
Alright, so you go into here, go to the trailer section. Chainsaws. And you have available for you the steel, the Husqvarna, the Jones thread, and the McCulloch. They all do exactly the same thing. It's just a question of what your brand loyalty is. Do the same thing, cost exactly the same amount.
Yep, they're all $1,000.
And none of them in this game have a plastic flywheel. Because they work forever. In real life, though, that steel is going to burn up on you really quick these days.
Depends on what steel you get.
If you get the forestry versions, they're pretty good, but all the new ones, the lighter ones,
Yeah,
plastic flywheel.
The home chainsaws are not worth the money. But if you spend the extra $100 and get a pro model, it'll still last you forever.
Yeah, they're pretty decent chains.
Most of my outdoor tools are steel.
Harvesting the millet. Tiny, tiny millet.
Galaxy just sent me a meme.
Was it a good meme or a bad meme?
Well, it's funny. It's a picture of a mobile banking page on your phone, and the meme is basically the top line says U.S. Treasury Department COVID-19 stimulus plus $1,200. But then the two lines below it are purchase RedTube monthly sub for $25.17 and purchase Pornhub for $300.
I've seen the exact same.
Yeah. Devontae, you find the stump grinder under forestry equipment. You don't need to get the tractor one. If you just want the stump grinder, it's under forestry equipment for
Also
$5,000.
under trailers. It's this one right here.
Yep. And it attaches to either the back of your tractor or the front if you have a front PTO attachment.
And if you don't have a front PTO attachment, you can always get the front lifter mod.
Yep.
I personally, what I would do when I got this particular stump grinder, I would just put it on the back of a little Fiat. The little Fiat worked wonders as a stump grinder.
Yep. Now, what Mary's talking about, T-Rex, the mod we downloaded the other night, so I can delete trees.
Yep. This is the T-Rex right here. Dun dun dun. Do love the T-Rex. Actually, my favorite piece of in-game equipment. The cool thing about this one too is you can put attachments on the back of it as well. So what I do a lot of the times is I will put the plow, a straight blade plow, on the back. Let me show you the one that I use in particular. You might be muted again, Reaper.
I don't think so.
6-meter subsoiler by Lizard. This is my favorite one. And I mount it on backwards so that it doesn't have any resistance when plowing. This one can, obviously plow and create fields and everything else like that. But the T-Rex, you can fold this up so it can still fit through all the little nooks and crannies and stuff like that without any problems. So I'll actually buy one of those real quick and show you, because I also want to get the T-Rex because I will need it. Just going to do standard colors on this one. Alright, so what I do with the T-Rex, I will mount the plow on backwards, because this plow allows that, this mod. So the teeth are going to be folded like that. But then you can actually just fold this plow up. And the T-Rex is a very, very nimble machine. So now you can travel at 12 miles an hour wherever you need to go, which is really not fast, but that's also the speed of the little Fiat is 12 to 15 miles an hour. But this can just delete trees now. And when you delete trees, you can then plow through things as well. Super, super useful. So let's take this tree, for example. This tree bothers me.
Good.
Oh, tree be gone.
Here we go.
Now, one of the things that I'm kind of curious if they did, because they did an update to La Carinella. I wonder if they got rid of a glitch that I really didn't like, but we're going to find out. So with all of these barbed wire fences, which is exactly what these are. So you have the post here, and then the barbed wire, and a post, and barbed wire, and a post, and barbed wire. Normally what happens is if you delete this post here, and this post here, this barbed wire should disappear. On La Caranella, that was not the case. You would delete a post with said stump grinder. Not saying I don't own the land, but I actually do, so I'm going to continue with this. You can see it's actually cut multiple pieces out of this. Oh, I gotta find the bottom. Sometimes they're a little glitchy with where the grind point is. No, I don't think they fixed any of the glitches with the fences. Alright, so there it goes. So now we don't have posts, but we have both of the pieces of barbed wire there. My complaint was that when you deleted the fence post between, the barbed wire was still there.
Yeah.
So there was no way to actually get rid of the fence. And again, yep, see? So now I just have barbed wire. Which from a distance, is very difficult to see. So if you're coming down here in a piece of equipment thinking that this is an open thing and you get here and boop, run into barbed wire, that would suck. Now a lot of maps would have one particular fence post that normally had like a ring on it. And the map designers put that there that if you got rid of that one, it would remove an entire fence. Not so on La Caranella.
She said, I love how I get all my... After 30 minutes of relaxing, the teacher wants me to do a whole course on something.
So speaking of which, Galaxy lives closer to an urban setting than I do. So their school system is better prepared for online activities. The school systems in eastern Pennsylvania tend to be better off than western Pennsylvania for that type of thing in general, unless you're actually in Pittsburgh itself. We got the call yesterday from the school superintendent because the governor, Governor Wolf, made the declaration that all school systems need to basically come up with a plan and that they will offer their assistance. So all of a sudden school systems are trying to figure out what to do with students for the rest of the year. Of particular concern is graduating classes. You know, are students who completed the year or were going to complete the year, are they going to be allowed to, say, graduate high school, or will a 5th grader become a 6th grader next year? What do they got to do? And so a lot of schools are suddenly scrambling. So we got the phone call that they will be sending out the information packets to our school district next week. And that basically they had no plan in place. They're scrambling to find some kind of a plan. They're asking for other school districts' help in making a plan. But that since they have to make a plan, they're going to. So have no fear, all is well. Your kids will have to do some schoolwork soon. That's basically what they told us.
See, luckily, our school district has been rolling out online classes for about 2 weeks now. Now, the call we got yesterday was basically that spring break was canceled. There's going to be classes, and as of Monday, attendance is going to be mandatory for all online classes. And we got, they actually, Mary said They called yesterday to say school's out till April 30th.
Better be.
Pennsylvania actually, yeah, Pennsylvania actually did that. Um,
Last week.
yeah, last I think it was just say
It
it
was
was either
last week.
last. Bixler is awake with some coffee.
Nice.
What's up, Bixler?
How's it going, Mr. Scott Bixler? Yeah, so the big thing is now I like that they're saying for you guys that online classes are going to be mandatory. The problem we have here in our school district is um, the same problem your rent-a-child has: internet access.
Yeah.
So how do you mandate online class participation when not every student has access to online schooling?
They basically, unfortunately and fortunately, unfortunately for the students that have internet access, they basically said that the students that don't have internet access
Hmm.
don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, see, that's where a lot of this is going to get problematic. Now I understand that this is a difficult situation, and particularly with schools, because when nationally and statewide and even locally you don't have a disaster plan in place, um, schools definitely never really had to think about something like this. It's not something that would come across a school board's desk very often, unless you live in a place where natural disasters are frequent. Like down south in Florida, I know they have plans in place for when hurricanes um, close schools for extended periods of time. Different school districts, in the north have snow preparedness stuff. We have snow preparedness plans. What happens if we have a week off of school? Well, spring break gets canceled. The kids go for an extra week in June or whatever else like that. But no school system had a plan in place for what do you do when school is closed for 30 days or more, because that never happened to entire school districts. It might have been one individual school, like a catastrophic flood in a school building. What do you do when the school floods? You put the kids someplace else.
Yeah.
When the kids can't go someplace else, though, what do you do? And like I said, without um, internet is, while it should be a utility, and it should be at this point in time kind of a basic right
Yeah.
that everybody should be provided with at least a base internet access. It's not. It's still straight up a for-profit business, and this is we run into a bunch of problems here in the U.S. like this because we privatize everything. Um, internet access is privatized. Utilities, even though they are normally handled as certain things, some things come up as municipalities. Like here in Johnstown, the water authority is not considered a utility. How is public water not a utility? We have a water authority, so they are not regulated by the Pennsylvania Utility Commission. So if you have a complaint against our water authority, the provider of water and sewer services here in Johnstown, guess what? You're shit out of luck.
Yep.
They don't answer to anybody. And they are, like I said, a for-profit business. But with the lack of internet access, I know for a fact that our local cable company, which, oops, I'm just pushing a container here around with my harvester. Bear with me one second while I push this back into place. So our local cable company, Atlantic Broadband, um, has a city sanctified monopoly on it. Now, granted, they are not the only internet provider, because you can get um, cell service, you can get satellite, but they are the only cable provider. And cable is by far the most reliable form of internet in our area. And they have, like I said, a city government um, issued monopoly on cable. City council says specifically no other cable companies in town other than Atlantic Broadband. I have a problem with that. A forced monopoly doesn't bode well with me. But prior to March 19th, if you hadn't paid your cable bill, they shut your cable off. Now, granted, a lot of people didn't have, Johnstown has a serious unemployment issue to start with because there's just no jobs here. The major industries here were steel, coal, and all those other fun things. They're gone. Defense industry, which was brought by Congressman Murtha before he passed away, when he died, they all left. They had no reason to be here. They weren't getting the tax breaks for being here. So all the industry here in town is gone. A lot of people didn't have cable before this happened. And if you call to order cable now, they're not going to come set it up for free. If you can't make your down payment or leave the deposit, you don't get new cable service. Now, if you do get cable service and you can't pay for it, the cable company, in fact, won't shut off your cable until after this is all taken care of. So that's cool. So those people that can't afford to pay their cable bill, they're not going to get shut off, so they still keep their internet. But a lot of these people didn't have internet to start with. There are a lot of underprivileged people here in the city of Johnstown. There are a lot of poor people here. There's a lot of unemployed people. We have a lot of public housing here. Johnstown is also a dumping point for the state correctional facilities. So we have a lot of halfway houses. We have a lot of people that just don't have the means to get internet access. What do you do for them? How do you provide for that population? And I think without some plan in place for that, an online school system, I'd say probably 25% of our elementary school kids don't have internet, at least. Given that I know where they live and what situations their families are in. A lot of these kids don't have access.
Yeah, and where I live, we have the same problem, but for a completely different reason. I live in a rural area, and we have only had internet for I want to say 3 years now, but there's still a lot of area in this school district that does not have access to cable.
Yeah, I guess we need to make the distinction. We're talking high-speed internet here.
Yeah. No, you can still get like dial-up.
Do they still have dial-up? I'm actually kind of curious.
They did as of a few years ago, before we got access to cable. That was the only internet we had, was dial-up.
Yes, I remember the good old days of dial-up. I remember the 28.8s, the 14.4s, the 56Ks. Yeah, I remember AOL days. The problem with dial-up is not everybody has a landline.
Well, not only that,
most people actually don't have landlines anymore.
And also, the way web pages are designed now, they have a time limit on request. So if you send say you want to open, and you do say you want to open a browser window and do an internet search. If you search for something and your dial-up has a hiccup or it's running too slow, that request is going to time out. So even though you have internet, it's not necessarily going to work. And especially when you're talking about online schooling, you've got a lot of video conferencing and file sharing and stuff like that requires a certain bandwidth that you can't get on dial-up. But like I said, the ones, at least in our area, the ones that don't have access to internet are basically just getting a free pass, along with pretty much all of our elementary students. Reed, my youngest, we had just moved him to private school before all this happened, And they basically said, well, we'll see you next year.
Mm.
Now,
Yeah.
that's not to say, I mean, he'll move, he'll progress in his grade just like normal. Um, but getting students like Reed to sit down and do online classwork at home is very difficult.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Reed's also special needs anyways, so he requires special considerations.
Right.
And I'm not dismissing that. What I'm saying is that that system is probably not going to work very well for him anyways.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't.
So with children like Reed, there are always special considerations that can be made. Um, what I'm worried about on a lot of these things is um, there's going to be a huge disparity between who is capable of doing things and who is not, and then um, excuse me, you're also going to have the because kids suck. I hate to say this, kids are cruel. Next year, I'm worried that some of these kids are going to face a lot of repercussions for not being able to attend online classes or something like that. Because one of the other things that actually struck me as kind of odd that the school superintendent said that all of the students' teachers will be in touch with the parents. So at some point in time over the next couple days, I'm going to get 3 phone calls. I'm going to get a call for my 5-year-old, I'm going to get a call for my 8-year-old, and I'm going to get a call for my 16-year-old, the current students. And the teacher's going to have to figure out how to do stuff like that with their students. Now, if they do online classes like teleconferences or something, we're prepared for that. My kids are actually used to sitting in front of a computer for extended periods of time. Um, we actually went, and when this all happened, we signed both of the kids up for ABC Mouse so that they had some form of a schooling program. ABC Mouse is not the best one. It's a pretty remedial program, but it's something. So the kids had some form of learning and interaction. And also it was to prep them to get used to doing schoolwork on the computer. Um, but the kids that can't do that, I wonder if there's going to be social repercussions in the future with the kids that, it's just another reminder, oh, you're a poor kid, you couldn't even afford to be on the online classes with us when we had to finish school and you got a
Yeah.
free pass. So to be making a kid that is used to being in a public setting for school and then making a kid all of a sudden do online classes, it's like taking an animal from a zoo and releasing it back into the wild. Yeah, so kind of like the actual opposite of that, but I still get the point that you're trying to make. It's like taking a wild animal and sticking it in a box. Not going to do it. Now, this is also one of the things that I think a lot of people have confusions on. Elementary school is to prepare children for the ability to learn to go on to middle school. It also teaches them basic social interactions. Middle school teaches kids how to prepare for high school, which also reinforces additional social interactions. And then when you get to high school is to pretty much prepare you for continuing your education after high school and to strengthen social interactions. College is to teach you basic skills for a career that you learn
And
how to learn those things getting to that point. The school system doesn't teach people how to perform in the real world. It just teaches you how to learn new information. The social aspect of it is the most important part of school, and this is where special needs kids kind of get screwed over the most because they're going to have special needs for social interaction in the future, and a lot of the time school systems are not prepared for that type of interaction and training. So we'll take Reed as another example. Um, Now, I don't know all the details, but from what Reaper and I discussed, Reed was struggling with his situation at school. Not because there's anything wrong with Reed. There's nothing wrong with Reed. Reed just has a special needs for social interaction and his schooling abilities. Um, the school was ill prepared to provide the services. A lot of people say that they weren't prepared to deal with Reed. That's bullshit. They were not prepared to properly provide Reed the things he needed. So Reaper and his family decided to seek additional schooling to put Reed in a better situation, which is excellent. I'm so glad you guys did that, because hopefully Reed in the future will excel. I don't know Reed. I've never even met Reaper in person, but sounds like he's a great kid. That, given the proper surroundings and the proper interactions, he has the potential for, you know, leading a wonderful life and doing wonderful things. But if you stifle those things, um, if you make it difficult for a child to do that, then the child suffers. And I think we're going to run into situations where more kids suffer again because
Yeah.
all the things that they were supposed to get from school aren't going to be provided. And unfortunately, adults look at it in the wrong way. Again, school is not to teach your kids very specific things in the way of life functions, and it's definitely not childcare. Unfortunately, a lot of people provide or rely on schools being childcare, and people think that their kids are going to learn everything they need to survive at school. They're not. Without that social interaction and without the structure of things, they still need someone to teach them the things that they need. Um, so they're going to struggle with learning on how to progress to the next level of education because they don't have that. They're going to struggle with the social aspects because they don't have that social interaction this year or the rest of the year. Um, and they're sure as heck not going to learn how to survive in the real world because that's not school's job.
Yeah. And I'm sure everybody here knows that
Welcome back,
Reed
Twiggy.
has. Yeah, welcome back. Reed has autism, and that um, academically he's very gifted. The problem was the social interaction and emotional support. Because he has autism, he has trouble communicating sometimes and uh, communicating the right things. And as Timo said, the school just wasn't prepared. Um, it was kind of it's funny now because we did move him into a better situation. Um, but when we were interviewing these schools and they asked us, what was our school district's special needs program, my answer was Reed. Unfortunately, he was their program, and it was kind of a learn as they went kind of deal. Um, so getting that he wasn't getting that social interaction, unfortunately, because of his difficulty communicating and the resulting behavior issues. What little social interaction he had, they were actually taking as punishment. So he was not only was he not getting what he needed, um, because they couldn't offer it. What little he could get, they were taking away, and that's really what pushed us to seek alternatives because um, they weren't prepared to. They were only prepared to be flexible to a point.
which point it sounded like it was much more detrimental to Reed's development.
It was, yeah.
So things had to change. But again, getting back onto the current topic at hand. So it kind of makes me wonder, what should we as a society learn from what we've put ourselves into, particularly with children in education? I think, or I hope, that in the future we realize the risks and hazards of, I'm going to sound like a socialist here for a minute, all the privatization of core requirements, things that should be considered basic rights of our population and citizenry. That, healthcare should be more of a right than a privilege. That the more money you have shouldn't mean the better healthcare you get. Education should be looked at very, very carefully so that everybody has the same opportunities, at least. And that with certain businesses and quote-unquote utilities, are re-looking at what is considered a luxury item and what is considered a utility. I think at this point in time, so many people are currently relying on the internet that the internet's going to be the easy one to figure out, that the internet should be considered, or internet access should be considered, a basic citizen's right at this point in time, because in the event that society needs to shut down, what does everybody need? Some form of access to the information.
Now, one of the sad facts about internet access is, among first world countries, the United States has some of the worst internet access and internet speeds. Which you would think, being the United States and relying as heavily as we do on technology, that we would be at the forefront of that, and we're not even close.
No, I actually have an interesting idea about that, and an interesting, at least I would consider interesting, reasoning behind that. We were at one point in time. And when we were was when internet access was still new, information technology was still new, and it was extremely profitable. And I'll give you a prime example. I used to own a lot of AOL stock, because AOL was a company founded pretty much in my backyard, Northern Virginia. And I knew a lot of people that worked for AOL. I knew a lot of people that lived and breathed by AOL. With the initial public offering, it was something that we all kind of figured was going to be a big deal. Now, I got really lucky when I sold off my AOL stock. It was extremely profitable, and I got out before the dot-com bust. But at one point in time, pretty much U.S. companies were at the forefront of providing access, but it was all in a for-profit manner. Now, most countries that have much better internet access and internet speeds than us, they treat it as a basic utility. That they understand that key core systems of living live and breathe by internet speeds and access. And that's where a lot of other societies actually just beat the pants off of us. They're not worried about it being the most profitable of things. Now, granted, a lot of those internet companies and access providers and everything over outside the U.S. do in fact operate on a for-profit manner, but not like we do. The United States is almost unique in its pure greed of for-profit companies. Now, granted, we are not unique. Unfortunately, there are other examples, but I still think we are the worst. that, yeah, the great American dream of, um, if you have enough will and attitude and moxie, you can make billions and billions of dollars. And kudos to people like Jeff Bezos for making billions of dollars. Shame on Jeff Bezos for hoarding it like an angry dragon. Bill Gates was a prime example coming out of the late 90s and the early 2000s. Um, Kudos for Bill Gates for making billions of dollars. Shame on Bill Gates for being the ruthless, monopolizing businessman that he was. Now, kudos for Bill Gates now for turning towards um, purer goals. I'm struggling with the word that I actually want to use, not
Philanthropy.
Philanthropy and altruism. I think altruism is the right word. I'm not sure. But yeah, becoming more of a philanthropist and using his money more for good than for evil. Um, but he also left behind that legacy of he did it first. Somebody else is going to do it in his wake, and sure enough, there have been plenty of people that do. Take Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook. Prime example of taking his billions and billions of dollars and being just a greedy little bastard and crushing the opposition. And now that Mark Zuckerberg's getting a little older, he's starting to turn towards that philanthropy. He's following Bill Gates' example of now that he has billions and billions of dollars. Unfortunately, we have people like Jeff Bezos that could be doing so much more. He could at least be the wacky billionaire that Elon Musk is, and spend his billions on new and interesting projects that may benefit humanity in the long run. Might not, I don't know.
Like Starlink?
Yeah, like Starlink. Perfect example, good segue. So, there are a bunch of potentials, and I'm hoping, because I am a romantic, I am a hopeless romantic. And I believe that the human race is capable of great and wonderful things. I'm hoping that we come out of all of this with a better sense of humanity's worth. I would also like to think that in the long run, we take a hard look at climate change and human interaction upon it. Because we have a lot of... Sorry, what are you about to say?
I was just going to say, I have to welcome Hollow Crow to the
Hollow Crow in the house.
stream. What's up, Erica?
What's up? So getting back to the whole human interaction with the planet, we have a lot of examples right now that people are not out and about doing things. The planet is doing some really, really cool things. Pollution down. Let's take China, for example. NASA has some satellite images of China and the cities without people out and about. Shanghai, no smog. Hong Kong, no smog. I remember just 2 years ago, you see pictures of all these people in China walking around the streets, ironically enough, wearing face masks.
Yeah, with masks on.
With masks on because they had to, because there's a lot of dust particulates in the sky. That's what those masks were for. Those weren't, surgical masks preventing infectious diseases. They were keeping solid particulates out of their lungs. You could actually walk down the street of Hong Kong right now with no mask on, and the air quality is the best it's ever been, or the best it's been in 10 years. The waters of Venice, without people disturbing the canal waters of Venice, you can actually see that there are fish, like living fish, in the normally opaque waters of Venice. People are surprised, like, oh wait, there's life there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now people are mistakenly going, oh, life came back that quickly. No, life didn't come back that quickly. It was there. It was just choking in a bunch of garbage that we put there.
Yeah.
It's amazing what life will deal with. But humans are kind of a parasite on the face of the planet. You constantly hear save the planet. The planet's fine. We're just making it difficult for us and every other living organism on the planet. But the planet itself will survive. And in the infamous words of Jeff Goldblum, life will find a way.
Yeah, we shouldn't be. They shouldn't be chanting "Save the planet." They should be chanting "Save the humans" because that's what we're doing.
Or save all the other creatures that the humans are
Yeah.
screwing.
Well, yeah. Save all living creatures. Humans are doing. They're making Earth uninhabitable for living organisms. They're not destroying Earth. Earth will go on. Earth will survive and will shake off humankind like a
Like a flea.
yeah. Uh, I now moving on to different subjects. I want to touch on something that Scott Bixler said. There was a Twitter announcement that mechs are coming to No Man's Sky.
Now, where did that Twitter announcement come from?
Sean Murray.
Sean Murray himself. Wow.
Yeah. Now, Mary also mentioned that it was data mined a while ago. The ability to have mechs was there, but a lot of things have been data mined that we haven't gotten, or we're not going to get. So for Sean Murray to come out and say we're getting mechs, that's pretty awesome.
All right, I'm gonna touch on something Hologro just said. Example:
Yeah, I
a
see
finch
that.
went extinct. Evolution legit brought it back. Um, I'm going to have to disagree from a scientific aspect. Um, not once has an actually extinct creature come back that we know of. And the only reason I say that is because we people are dumb and we don't know everything. So when we think something is extinct, we're normally just not
Not seeing
finding
it.
them. Prime example, coelacanths. We thought those things were extinct for 150 million years or 65 million years or whatever it was. And then some Japanese fisherman yanks one up from the bottom of the ocean. It's just the first living example we've ever seen of it because we dumb. We don't know where all this stuff goes. So finch going extinct, we just didn't see it. What's the other example? There was Southeast Asian rhino, a forest rhino that wasn't seen for 100 years, and a trail camera picks one up. Um, Certain types of cats in the Himalayas have been found after they've thought to be extinct for hundreds of years. Um, Pygmy deer in like the Philippines, um, and more recently, one of the tortoises of the Galapagos thought to be extinct. Come to find that there's actually 17 of them on one island. We just didn't know they were there. But again, yeah. So uh, life does, in fact, find a way. Life does some amazing things. Um, some creatures are just smart enough to hide from us.
Yeah, and I mean, if you think about it, you look at all the research going on in the ocean. They literally find new every day.
17 new species every day.
Yep. And how long have humans been around?
That's also debatable.
Well, yeah, but getting to the point that we've been here long. We've been sailing the oceans and exploring for a long time, and we know very little about what lives in the ocean. We know more about space than we do about oceans.
Or at least we think we do.
Yeah, we think we do.
That's another. We don't know jack about space.
I hate the saying history repeats itself. No, it freaking doesn't.
I would actually have to disagree and say
Yeah.
that history, in fact, does repeat itself because history is just humans' interpretations of actions, and we are constantly making the same mistakes over and over again.
Well, yeah, that's what that's what I was trying to say. That saying refers to people making the same mistake over, and it happens all the time. Uh, you cannot in any way, shape, or form repeat history, but you can. You can make the same mistake you made yesterday, and you
Now, granted, you can't perform the exact same action and task as what happened previously, but you can come pretty damn close. You can come pretty damn close.
Now look at the World War for recent arguments.
Which World War?
Yeah, which World War? And if you're referring to World War One and Two, no, that's not a repeat, because it was two different scenarios, two different causes. You're a history major, but you can't repeat it. No. That's a bad example because it is in fact just because they were named World War I and World War II, it wasn't a repeat.
Yeah, I mean, you had the Great War and the War to End All Wars, but you know that was bullshit. We didn't end any war with that, but yeah. You know, and it also World War One really wasn't the first World War. You know, you can go back to Roman times and Greek times, and by using the same definition of a quote unquote world war, they happened back then, where you have all of the major nations from the known world coming together to fight on a common theme.
Beating each other to a pulp.
Yeah, pretty much. It all depends on your interpretation on what you think history means. Now, you also said you're a history major. That's great. You study history from a very particular point of view and one particular learning institution. I don't know where you go to school, but I don't know that I would take a for-profit institution's certification that you know better than I do as verifying you as an expert on something. I guarantee you I've read more history books than you have because I'm that much older than you, and I was a history minor. I don't need to be a history major. Not only that, I was an education major, where it was my job to teach people how to learn. Sorry, I'm totally veering off topic on that one.
So
It's all subjective, though.
Yeah, so Beffels made the comment, history can't repeat itself purely because circumstances are different, constantly changing. So let me ask you this, Beffels. So you're walking down the street, holding a cup of coffee in your hand. Maybe you're listening to music. Doesn't really matter. Walking down the same street, coffee in the same hand. You trip over a crack in the sidewalk and drink coffee. The next day, you're walking down the very same sidewalk with the very same cup of coffee in the very same hand, and you trip over the very same crack in the sidewalk and drop your coffee. You mean to tell me that's not history repeating itself?
Actually, I am. I am very specifically telling you that that is not history repeating itself. But I'm going to tell you how it is history repeating itself. So you trip on the very same crack 2 days in a row, spilling your coffee, and the same person witnesses you do it twice. That is history repeating itself. If nobody sees it happen and it's not recorded or remembered, then no, history hasn't
True,
repeated
yeah.
itself at all. But
True
if
story.
the same person working at the same store that you tripped in front of, working their same regular shift, sees it, that is in fact history repeating itself. Because it is the human perception of actions. I'll give you another prime example, and we're going through this, well, we were going through this just several months ago. So, since you brought up the Great Wars, World War I and World War II, after World War II, people did the dumb. We decided, we meaning the victors of World War II, primarily the British and the Americans, decided to really screw with a lot of people. And we redefined countries' borders, one of which was Afghanistan. We decided to screw with that region for years, which later led to another conflict between the Soviet Union and the United States, the Cold War, which led to a hot war in Afghanistan, where Russia ended up invading Afghanistan, a hostile group of people. And the United States supplied people with lots and lots of weapons, causing future conflict there, which unfortunately for us after 9/11 left us in a really, really bad situation where a region was about to be destabilized by our activities when we just up and left. The United States is on the verge of up and leaving Afghanistan again, in a situation where we have provided them with a lot of weaponry again. And I guarantee you that when we leave, the same thing's going to happen. That region will become destabilized and conflict will again happen, because that's human nature. Cuba too. All right, let's see. Cuba's a good one. We don't speak of the cold. We do stupid things when it pleases us. Well, we also do stupid things just because it's human nature. And that is what most people mean by history repeats itself. Because there are, in fact, people there to observe the fact that we are once again doing the dumb. Now, history can be the simple fact of humans made a mistake. One nation screwed up. That is in itself history. It doesn't have to be that Archduke Franz Ferdinand got shot in the back of a car with a .38 revolver that led to World War I. Or the defenestration of Prague. My favorite word, defenestration, by the way. Those are causalities that led to certain things. Now, those are in fact historical events, but the end result is what people tend to mean by history repeats itself, that we are in fact going to screw up. I'll give you another example. So let's talk about climate change and the degradation of the ozone layer. So back in the 80s, we had this wonderful product called Aquanet, which is still around. And the 80s hairstyles were very big and required a lot of Aquanet. Well, the problem was Aquanet had chlorofluorocarbons in it that ate holes in the ozone layer. So the governments decided to ban chlorofluorocarbons from being in a lot of products, which led to a retraction of the hole in the ozone layer. But, history repeating itself, people were going to make products to eat a hole in the ozone layer, which we in fact did. It was because we weren't allowed to use chlorofluorocarbons. I don't remember the exact product that it was, but we switched to a completely different product to power our hairsprays and other things that was worse.
It had
for the ozone layer.
VOCs in it.
Yeah,
Volatile
volatile
organic
organic
compounds.
compounds. Thank you very much. VOCs. That was specifically what we were looking at, which caused other problems as well. Not only did it eat holes in the ozone layer, it did other bad stuff too. So history repeating itself was not only did we screw up, we screwed up worse. So yeah, history major, take that. Tell me history doesn't repeat itself.
Big Papa Timo pokes the Bethels.
I will poke that because, yeah, I'm the bigger bear than Beffels. You can poke the Beffels all you want. I'm angrier. Love you, Beffels. All right, so I do need to ask a rather important question because I just looked down at the time and realized it is 2:30. This is actually a lot later than I was planning on going today. Do we have anybody online we want to dump off to?
Mary, Mary, ready to go.
Is Demary ready to go?
Uh, let's see. Bethel said, I suppose the idea of history is different for us. Even I look at it more as multiple biased accounts put together to tell a story of our past. We are unable to fully get the truth of historical events. History cannot repeat itself because people are not the same. They change down to the weather, temperature of day, or time of occurrence. It cannot truly repeat itself in a pure form. Then she says, I love you too. I live to. It's a fun subject. Mary just needs to click go live.
Sweet.
Mary's like, gosh, yeah, Bethel, shut up. So as soon as I get that link, I'll make it happen.
Ah, my pleasure, Devontae. My pleasure.
So what's Big Papa Timo got planned?
Big Papa Team has to go do some adulting for a little while. I hope to actually be online a little bit later, but I will be back on the Facebooks.
The Books of Face?
Yep, I know you guys are maybe a little bit disappointed in me, but I have to admit that the reason I am doing Facebook streaming more often than the YouTube is I've had to make a lot of very difficult business decisions recently, and Facebook streaming is by far the best decision to make, especially currently with my given situation. As much as I love my original old guard people that watch me stream and everything here on YouTube, um, it just is not financially the responsible decision, and I actually have to make more decisions, and even more so now that I've seen this thing come out with Etsy. I've got to make even more difficult decisions over the next couple days. So I'm going to be perfectly honest with everybody here and now. I don't know how much longer I will be doing streaming on YouTube. It's something that has a definite possibility of not ending per se. I don't want to say I'm just going to totally walk away from it, but I do have to admit that um, it's making certain things for me difficult. That it's kind of messing with a potential schedule. So Reaper and I are going to be talking over the next couple days on where we go with the mid-lunch crisis in particular, and whether or not I am going to be streaming myself on YouTube very often, if ever. So we'll talk. We'll do some stuff. At the very least, though, guys, I do have to point out that our next stream for Mid-Lunch Crisis is Sunday morning. It is going to be on time, I would imagine, as long as Reaper and I can both get up. But it's going to be on Reaper's channel. So we will see you guys then. I understand that you don't Facebook, and it is unfortunate that I may actually lose out on some interactions with people um, on a more frequent basis. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to Reaper about what he's been doing with, um, like Discord chats and stuff like that, so that I can maintain my social interaction with you, my friends over here, that I don't lose out on that, and that you guys don't lose out on interacting with me. But from a streaming aspect, specifically, um, YouTube is, I don't want to say YouTube's problematic for me. It's not problematic, but um, it's a difficult decision I have to make, and I'll talk about that on things like that. So, are we ready with the Marys?
I'm still waiting for YouTube to update, so I have a link. See if I can maybe grab it from GNG. I can.
Galaxy, the issue is actually the timing. Um, Now there are ways, and like I said, I need to talk to Reaper about this because um, Reaper has some loyalty for me that some other people don't. The fact that he and I entered into our arrangement for the mid-lunch crisis and dual streaming and stuff like that, so he and I need to discuss what the both of us think the best way to move forward on this is. Now, I don't really want to talk about a lot of things without talking to him first. So give me some time to talk to Reaper about things, and we'll figure some things out and let everybody know as we move forward from there. So we've got Mary Lizzie's stream up and running.
Yes, sir.
Everybody jump on over there. Sunday we will see you on Reaper's channel. Pretty sure everybody in here is familiar with that, but we might want to go ahead and drop a Reaper link real quick too. I typed in the wrong damn buttons, but you can do the... There you go. Thank you.
Yep.
Check that out, and I will see you guys at 11 a.m. on Sunday.
Give me just a second here, just in case any doesn't know. That's my Discord again.
Mine is just Discord.
I'm
There it is.
pretty much always there, hanging out. You need to chat. You want to chat. You just want some company. Feel free to stop by. We got Timo's Discord in there twice. We'll get him set up. We'll get him set up so he can also be available for Hangouts.
Yeah, and actually, if anybody ever needs me for anything, regardless of what I'm doing, even if I'm currently in the middle of a live stream, if you need me, message me. If you need someone to talk to, yeah, the whole labyrinth thing. If you need us, if you need me, send me a message. Even if you don't Facebook, shoot me a direct message on Discord. If if that's not good enough and you just need to be able, I mean, I know I don't really offer myself to a lot of people, but if you think that I would be the best person to talk to in any given situation, I will give you my phone number if that's what's best for you. You need a pizza? I need a pizza too, Erica. Sorry. Bring one over and we'll eat it together. Yeah, Galaxy, order us pizzas, damn it. Been waiting here for 2.5 hours, 3.5 hours.
We know you got your refund for those concerts, so you're not broke.
You're not broke. You've got money for pizza. I mean, it's $5.99 for a pizza. Can I bring it there by 3? Yes, I can, in fact, Erica. Send me your address and I'll be there by 3. Which day I'm there by 3 is the difficult decision. But I'll be there by 3. Might be 2023, but, we'll see. We'll figure it out. But I do love you guys. I miss you all, even though I'm seeing you right now. But, yeah, are we good to go?
We are good, sir.
All right, everybody jump on over to Mary's stream. Show Mary Lizzie some holla lovin'. And I normally say, hey, fly safe. But until next time, guys, go fly your own damn fields.